I do.
No, you live under a rock. Never thought I'd do that one. Dude, it's iconic. Hold on.
Dude, by Sticks, right? Or am I got the band? Okay.
You've never heard this song? Dude lives under a rock.
Dude lives under a rock. What was that?
You ever listen to 36 Mafia? No. Well, I don't listen to rap.
Listen, all of y'all are uncultured as hell when it comes to music. Just saying.
Nah, they're all different.
I'm the biggest music man you know.
Listen,
Neither of you are ready for my Just Desserts walk-up song.
I'm very excited for this dessert.
you showed me what was on yesterday.
I know, it's good. It's
I'm
not
very
even his
excited.
best song, too.
Wait, who's it by? Who's it by?
Brian Tyson.
Who?
Tyson.
Heard of them. No idea.
Oh.
No idea what song.
Listen, the most beautiful K-pop boy band in the country.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Martin, you want to see how far we can get outside? We can set that.
Yeah, so let's see what I was back. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Coolio. We did it. We welcome you to Valcente Diamond at Freeman Field on what marks Senior Day for Ithaca College baseball. Just moments ago, we recognized the great work of seniors Connor Peterson, Dan Kellichan, Colin Feeney, Riley Brody, Logan Scully, Colin Olaner, Ethan McDonough, Ryan Lobster, and Tyler Puglisi. For your broadcast today, 2 junior voices, so no recognition needed for us. I'm Colin Martin, joined by our analyst for the moment, play-by-play in just a few, Ryan Collins. And Ryan, it's going to be a big one on the South Hill.
Oh, yeah, we have a great game ahead of us between Ithaca and Hobart. You got Ithaca coming into this game 2011, Hobart 16-13. It should be a fun matchup.
Absolutely will be. And when you look through the history books, this has been a matchup that Ithaca has found themselves on the right side of throughout history. Ithaca, they lead the Statesmen 49-4 in the all-time series, 26-3 at Valcente Diamond. But let's take a peek through the lineups for both sides. For Ithaca, it's going to be Andrew McDermott in left hitting first, Ethan McDonough in right hitting second, Fantel at first hitting third, Connor Peterson at second, Feeney center, Logan Scully catching, Tyler Puglisi handling the DH duties, Ryan Lobster at third, Riley Brody at short, and Jack Bacozzi on the bump. For the Statesmen, Tech Nash, he's going to get the ball, he's going to pitch. Petrie starting at second, Munoz DHing, Shameldy right field, Johnson at short, Garvin at first, O'Neill in left, Conti at third, Sanders handling the catching duties, and Burns in center field. 2 very strong lineups, and the Bombers, they're going to have Bacozzi on the bump. What a year he's had, Ryan.
I'm sorry, what was that, Mr. Marty?
Had an incredible year, huh, Bacozzi?
Yeah, he is doing fantastic this year so far. I mean, he's been off to a great start. He's been one of the Bombers' most reliable pitchers to go through this year. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do on the mound today. But on the other side, you have Tech Nash, who has also been just as good, if not better, for Hobart. So it should be a fun matchup between the 2 teams.
Yeah, Bacozzi's 47 strikeouts mark the 3rd most in the conference. He's going to get the ball on the bump once again. Made plenty of appearances this year. 2-2 record on the season. Hobart rolls into town, currently last place in the Western Division of the Liberty League. Ithaca, they're at first. And things are shortly underway here on the South Hill. First pitch from Bacozzi is in, and it's a called strike, 0-1 count.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see here how Hobart approaches these at-bats. Are they going to take some pitches? Or are they going to try to swing early?
Yeah, when you look at Petrie in there, one of the most strong contact guys in the conference, he sees one in for 0-2. He knows how to get on base all conference last season. His on-base percentage nearly 500, so you know when he's in the box, there's a darn good chance he gets on base, Ryan. Bacozzi, 0-2 pitch, fires it in, soft grounder to first. Fantel watches it go foul, and will re-rack.
And another thing to keep in mind here, though, that right field line is not a lot of room over there for foul balls. So if you send it down that line, more than likely it's going to go foul and out of play.
Fantel, the freshman, had such a strong season so far, hitting around the 420 mark. He's manning first. Came in shortly after the spring break trip, has been the full-time first baseman ever since. No Camden Laney in the lineup today, so Fantel, of course, takes the spot once again. Pitch runs high, 1-2. Cozy 2-2 record. Such a strong start to the season. Had a couple of tough outings immediately following that spring break trip, trying to get himself back centered up. Chopper to second. Play at first. Handled. First out of the game for the Bombers.
Classic 4-3 out there, right there. Got him easy. Not much challenge there, but a solid at bat. He had some solid swings there, I'd say.
Brings up the DH Munoz, trying to spark up the offense. First out, there's the senior Connor Peterson handling business. He gets the start on senior day. Had plenty of time at second base previously. No Matt Curtis in the starting lineup today. Munoz watched the first pitch. Just a touch outside. 1-0 count. Another pitch outside. 2-0 count for Munoz.
He's now behind the first time for the game. I mean, it's only the second batter, but still behind already 2-0. Never. Don't want to see that.
Yeah, Bacozzi with a ton of power on his pitches. Sometimes the control gets away from him so early. You don't really expect that to be the case. And you see it right there. Fires one right down the middle. 2-1.
Needed that strike there. You don't want to go behind 3-0.
Never do. Munoz, young hitter. Hasn't seen a whole lot of Bacozzi, these two. It's for their first time matching up against each other, so bit of a battle. Munoz pops one up. Foul way out to right.
Just beneath us, for those wondering.
Somewhere close to the press box over on this right side. Well, the count's even, 2-2. Overcast day here on the South Hill. Bombers trying to beat out the rain. Cozy fires in the even count. And he's going to hit Munoz. We talk about that control issue. Munoz takes one on the shoulder and trots his way at a fast pace over to first.
Luckily, it seems okay, though. Not too hurt there. Shrugged it off, went to first base. So, no, looks like no harm or injury to him anyways.
Well, runner on first for Shamildi, the man manning right field. He's going to be up to bat from Jamestown, New York, transfer. Second season with the Statesmen. Cozy's going to have to watch for Munoz on first. Fires in the first pitch of this at-bat. Strike called, 0-1 count.
He's ahead in the count again. That's when he is at his best, he is throwing strikes. He's at his worst, he's not in the strike zone and throwing a lot of pitches in the ball.
Checks up on first. Munoz slides in head first. Count remains 0-1. And for Cozy, once again, incredible heat on his stuff. It's really hard to stay in the batter's box and make good contact with what he's throwing you, but he struggles to keep it down the center of the plate in times. Pitch runs in, just a bit high, 1-1 count. And then we saw there, Ryan, of course, Munoz hit by the pitch. That's how he gets on first, so it speaks to some of those control issues we mentioned previously. But runner on first with some of the stuff Cozy's throwing, they're thinking maybe you can get a double play ball here. Fires in the next one, chipped off, way into left foul territory.
You're right, though. These batters are not getting good swings on these balls unless when they're in the strike zone. They're way too hard to handle.
Runner on first, 1-2 count, 1 out in the top of the first. Cozy settles in, checks on first. Munoz gets back in plenty of time.
Not much of a lead over at first. Keeping it close now.
He's got to check up anyways. Safe once again. Cozy obviously respecting the wheels of Munoz. Bombers enter this game with a 20-11 record. Hobart 16-13. Ithaca had a lot more luck in conference play compared to the Statesmen. And as we mentioned, the all-time edge is much in favor of Ithaca, but back in 2023, Hobart got their first victory against the Bombers since the 80s. So there's definitely a chip on their shoulder there. A lot of these guys competing on this Hobart team, they've seen what a victory looks like against the Bombers. Couldn't be said for generations before. Ball outside leads to a 2-2 count for Cozy.
Ithaca, a notoriously great baseball team, though. So they have a lot of success against a lot of teams.
That pitch runs wild. Munoz is going to be able to trot into second. Thinks about third for a moment. Scully grabs it. Now a full count. Munoz advances to second on the pitch. And talk about Ithaca's all-time success. Of course, under Coach Valcente, previously under Coach Carp Wood, there was a whole lot of that to go around. Hobart particularly hasn't had the strongest resume since entering Liberty League play, but early here in the first game of action, first frame of action, looks like they might have some juice. Full count, Munoz taking a big lead off second. Pitch fired in, liner in the gap. Munoz, he's going to round third. Holds up, and it's a single, advances Munoz to third, and Shamildi, he lands on first. Runners on the corner, only 1 out early.
Good work on McDermott there to get that ball in the infield fast, though. Keep the runner at third and give your pitcher a chance to get out of this inning unscathed.
Well, in order for that to happen for Cozy, he's going to have to take down Johnson at short, hitting fourth in this lineup. Runners on first and third. We've seen Cozy have games like this throughout the season. We talk about how strong he's been for the team. There's no doubt about that. But in these early innings of action, sometimes he allows the other squad to strike. Johnson shows bunt. Chips that one, foul territory, 0-1 count.
Playing small ball here, looking to get that run in early.
Yeah, for Hobart, runs haven't come at a premium, especially in conference play, as mentioned. Really struggle to put runs on board. Their pitching staff, one of the best in the conference. They just don't have the run support to match their arms. So playing small ball might be the way, but we'll have to see how Johnson attacks the rest of this at-bat. Cozy checks up on first once again. Shamildi gets back there in time.
However, if you do look at Ithaca pitching, though, a lot of their starters are hovering around that 5 ERA mark. So getting to the starters has been a key for many of the other teams opposite in to win games.
Pitch fired in, 0-2 count. Yeah, Ryan, as you mentioned, Colin Lehner hasn't had the strongest campaign you expect. Obviously, considered one of the best pitchers in the Liberty League, but Cozy and he made such a strong duo. Both of them have kind of fallen off their respective games, but at the end of the day, you know they have that top-end talent. Another pitch fired in, fouled off. So Hobart, knowing that, you know they have to attack, because when it gets to the Ithaca bullpen, the story of the second half of the season is that teams haven't really found a whole lot of work to be done when the relievers of the South Hill come into the game. 0-2 count for Cozy. Runners on first and third, 1 out. Strike 3. Scully handles it. A bit of confusion in the moment, but at the end of the day, a strikeout swinging for Johnson. Bomber faithful can clap and advances Schemeldy to second.
Good base running there. Third base, you had Muniz over at third who didn't advance. Meldon advanced over to second, so good on them for being smart. But because he got the strikeout, which was the all-important key out to get there.
Well, here comes Garvin. Runners on second and third. 2 outs here. First frame of action for the Bombers. Cozy fires one high, 1-0 count.
Again, struggling to throw strikes here in this first inning, though. And he doesn't really have that put-away pitch right now.
Got Johnson down swinging. Got Petrie, first batter of the game, on a play from second to first. Another ball fired in, 2-0 count. Pitch lined up the center gap. That's going to bring home 1. Rounding third is Schemeldy, brings home 2, and that's a 2 RBI single for the Statesmen. And they've just opened up the floodgates early.
That's an early 2-0 lead, and Colin, we talked about it. Get to the starter, you might have some success against this Ithaca team. And a team for Hobart who struggles to score runs, that was a huge hit right there.
Brings up O'Neal. Cozy now got gashed in the first frame. See how he responds. Garvin stands on first. First pitch of O'Neal's at bat is called strike.
Picazzi, you got to find a way to get rid of this last batter.
A 1 pitch lined off foul territory towards right. Cozy trying to exit this inning with minimal damage. The 2 RBI single from Garvin puts the Bombers at a deficit early.
Runner being held close at first.
0-2 pitch, lined up to short. Force out at second, in time, just barely, but the Bombers get out of the top of the first. We're going to take it to a short break. When we return, let's see what the Bombers bats can get done here on the South Hill. Back here for the bottom half of the first, Bombers trail 0-2. Hobart with an offensive first frame of action. Munoz, he got on base. He was hit by a pitch. Allowed Garvin to send a 2-run shot. He landed on first. Of course, brought home 2. And now the Bombers, they trail by a score of 0-2. I'm Colin Martin, joined by Ryan Collins once again, if you missed it. Hobart's bats, they came alive in the first frame of action for one of the first times we've seen all season, Ryan.
They got the offense going early, and we talked about it. They wanted to get on the board early against the Ithaca starters. But now the question is on the Bombers lineup, can they score back and put themselves back into this game nice and early?
Well, we're going to see the first action of Tech Nash, the pitcher for Hobart. Pitched 2 complete games in his entire career. One of them was last week against St. Lawrence in a victory. The other one last season against the Ithaca College Bombers, where he walked out with a loss. But we know that Nash, on paper, his arm can go a long way. For Hobart, with some of the relievers in the pen, they got some good guys, but they also got some guys that maybe they don't want to use too early in this 3-game series. So see how Nash holds up. It's Andrew McDermott, the leadoff man. Looking at the first pitch, called strike. McDermott, the transfer from Queens of Charlotte, originally at Quinnipiac. He is tearing up the conference. One of the strongest bats and a contact hitter in his D1 career. He's top 5 in the Liberty League in homers. Get some pop on that one. It's going to roll foul.
You mentioned he's one of the top hitters in the Liberty League, and that leads to him being the best on-base percentage for this Bomber squad. That's why he leads off these games. He gets on base, sets the table for the other big guns. McDonough, Fantel, Peterson, Feeney, gives those guys a chance.
Bombers, they sure do not have a lack of guys that can hit. McDermott just gets on base. The best of them. High fly ball, left field, caught. Fly out to left. Starts the game out for McDermott. Nice play made by O'Neal to get that one in foul territory. Can't tell, the wind picking up quite a bit. Play added a degree of difficulty. It brings up Ethan McDonough. Ethan McDonough got a whole lot of power. Seen him at various points throughout the season. Missed a big chunk due to illness. Well, he's back, and he's been hot since he got back. Nash sends the first one in. Bombers dugout screams no.
But McDonough, he's got a lot of power for this Bomber squad. A lot of doubles, can hit a home run. He's got it all.
Looks at Tech's next offering. 1-1 count, 1 out on the board. Swings at the 1-1 pitch, make it 1-2. Just a bit early.
McDonough had a great start outing last time, though, too. He went 2 for 2 with a walk, and which was pretty prominent against an RIT roster who was very good.
Sees one in, strikes out looking. And McDonough, that one wasn't for him, but Blue calls it a strike. 2 outs on the board, and the Bombers going down quick, but it's Ethan Fantel, and alluded to this a bit earlier. This guy not only has the power that you expect for a big lefty bat, he also just finds elusive ways to get on base. The freshman's had a great eye. He's become a staple of this lineup. Sees the first one in, called strike, 0-1 count. But Ryan, I mean, not much else you can say about Fantel. He checks every box for a first-year contributor.
Oh, he's been one of the best Bombers there is over at that first base. Reliable. He's a reliable hand in the field. He can hit the ball. He's another power hitter on those Bombers lineup. He's a 5-tool player.
Fouled that one off to deep left. 0-2 count early for Fantel. Tech Nash dealing. See if Fantel can get one out. That one runs a bit high, 1-2.
Fantel, good eye at the plate there. That was a tough pitch to lay off.
Especially when, you know, a kid like him, he can swing for the fences any pitch. 1-2 for Nash. Fired in. Fantel sends one to second. Is the play made? Oh, called out. And Fantel can't believe it. He put the wheels on, but the play from Petrie got to Garvin just in time, and gonna have to shake that one off is Fantel.
That was a close play there. Fantel was not happy about it. Nonetheless, though, the ump called it. It was right there, and he did not make it in time. So, but then again, it was a solid hit ball. Like we said, he had the power. He was almost able to muscle it through the infield, but over at second base, he was able to get up and get the ball over to first just in time.
Well, the Bombers, we saw them struggle because he had to pitch a bit longer than he would have liked. Allowed 2 runs in that first frame. Now the Bats, they move quick for the Bombers. 3 up, 3 down. Good start for Tech Nash. It's going to bring up Conti, Sanders, and Burns for the Statesmen. And for Ithaca, not the start you're looking for on senior day, but Ryan, as you know, plenty of game left to play.
Yeah. It's a long game. We still have 8 more innings to go, so it's only 2 runs. And this Bombers team is very good at scoring runs. You've seen them score over 20 runs in this season. They scored, I believe, 10 runs over the weekend against RIT multiple times. So this is a Bombers lineup that knows how to put up runs.
Yeah, Bombers' 3rd best average in the Liberty League. They know how to get on base. 1st in homers by a wide margin. We talk about the power so often. We're not being facetious. They know how to get one out of the infield and plenty of times out of the outfield as well. 405 dead center, but the Bombers really know how to play to that 358 in left and that 353 in right. So bats can come alive, but in the meantime, it's going to be Picozzi for the 2nd inning of work on the bump.
I think the key here is, will Picozzi be able to find that strike zone? He would have it in the last inning, but then he would seem to lose it. He was either getting ahead in the count 0-2, or he seemed to fall behind pretty quickly.
Well, it brings up Cole Conti for the Statesman. Trying to see if Hobart can build on what was a strong 1st inning of batting. First pitch of inning number 2, Picozzi fires in. Bit outside, ball 1.
And there's one thing I think we should take note of here, Colin, is that the wind is blowing a lot today, and it's blowing out from center field. So if anything in the air towards center field, it's probably going to have a hard time getting out.
Not the first time this season we've seen the windy conditions here in Ithaca for the Bombers. They're getting. It does affect the game, Ryan. You know, the Bombers, a team that unapologetically doesn't play a whole lot of small ball. They like to swing for the fences. We'll see how it affects their bats. Makes life maybe a bit easier for Picozzi as he fires in first strike of the at-bat, 2-1 count.
There's something to be said, though, for swinging for the fences in Ithaca and being able to get it out of the park.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
It takes a lot of power to do that.
Picozzi deals the 2-1 pitch, line to 3rd. Lobster over to Fantel. Fantel scoops it, first out of the frame.
That's the kind of start that you wanted to see from Picozzi. Got strikes, was able to throw them, and he was able to get a quick and easy out after a long 1st inning.
Brings up Owen Sanders, the catcher. He's hitting 8th in the lineup today. Hasn't had the strongest hitting season so far, hanging around the 200 mark, but, you know, can turn it up any given day. 1 out on the board for the Bombers. Picozzi's first offering. Inside, called strike. 0-1 count.
Bombers infield playing deep everywhere but at the 3rd base.
Yeah, Lobster, he's well far up. Good reason. Ball goes straight to him. Chopped over to Fantel. Out number 2.
Lobster played that perfectly.
Right place, right time, Ryan. You got the Hawkeyes up here, and I think Lobster might have taken that one to heart. And talk about Lobster at 3rd base. That guy, he has a heck of an arm. Fantel has to make some acrobatic plays at time, but never any doubt that he's going to get the ball. It brings up Burns.
That is something to note, though. He does tend to play, because he's doing it again, playing right up towards the grass, so he's keeping it close.
Yeah, it's towards the bottom part of this Hobart lineup. He's definitely taking a step up. First pitch from Picozzi, 0-1. Picozzi, 0-1 pitch, well outside in the opposite batter's box, makes it 1-1.
He missed with that one almost wildly. That could have been a pass ball if anyone was on base there.
Yeah, good play from Scully. Keeps it up just a bit. It's going to be a 1-1 count for Burns. Picozzi fires. Well over the plate, 1-2. And then a 1-2 count, 2 outs after first inning of action that Picozzi would like back. Gives him a chance to even things out, get out of this one cleanly. Burns will offer the rebuttal. Lobster takes a step back from 3rd, more even position. Lines up. Grounder up the middle. He's going to get Burns on 1st.
Base hit right up through the middle of the infield. Again, that seems to be a spot that Hobart's finding a lot today. All of their hits have gone right up the middle.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that elite level of power, but seen plenty of balls find the right spot. Brings it back to the top of the lineup. Here's Petrie. He had a ground out to 2nd to open up the game. Got plenty of run support after. Burns taking a lead off first because he's going to acknowledge that. Fires on the pitch, strike 1.
Something to be said here, though, to see what Picozzi does with runners on base again. He struggled with it last inning. See how he gets through this with the top of the order now here.
A 1 count Burns leading off first. Grounder runs foul on the right side, make it 0-2. Talking about Petrie, one of the strongest contact guys in the Liberty League. Hobart, they don't have any guys with an average within the top 30 of the conference. Petrie's the closest, hanging at 32. By the end of the day, getting on base has been something that hasn't been a problem for the Statesmen early in this one. 2 outs, runner on first. Cozy will check on that runner out first. Burns gets back to first. Plenty of time.
Kazi keeping all these Hobart runners in check, giving credit to their speed as they do tend to run on the base path.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. 2 outs. Check swing. Says that Petrie laid off it. Was tipped, fouled, wouldn't have mattered either way. And we do it again.
I believe he did call that a foul tip, Colin.
Yep, right off the top half of the bat. Just weak contact made, sent to foul. 0-2 pitch. High. Play at second. Plenty of time.
And that was a bullet to catch the runner at second base.
What a play from Scully. He fired that one in, and that's out number 3 in the top half of the second for the Bombers.
Wasn't a perfect throw, but he threw it fast enough to get it there and give him time to get him out. Now, I'm curious to see how this Bombers lineup will react. They were put down 1-2-3 in the first inning. Do you think they'll be able to keep it up in the second inning, or do you think they'll be able to find a way through and put some runs on the board?
Well, I absolutely hope that they can do just that. If you're a Bomber fan, it's going to bring up Peterson, Feeney, Scully, and hopefully more if the Bombers can get on base. Of course, Peterson, Feeney, Scully, all those 3 in their senior days, so maybe a little bit of extra juice in that department. You hope that they can get their bats hot. But Tech Nash, once again, he was firing in the first inning of play, no doubt about it. He's looked strong.
But that's what he does. If you look at the stats, he tears through lineups. If I'm not mistaken, last time he threw 9 innings of baseball and only gave up 1 run.
Yeah, that St. Lawrence game was very strong for Hobart across the board. St. Lawrence, a team that is somewhat comparable to them. They're 6-7 in the Liberty League West. Hobart 6-9. So that was definitely a good win for them to pick up against the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints are a tough team too. They're not easy to navigate, and he was able to do it pretty cleanly.
Going to see if he can keep the ball rolling here. First inning would suggest yet. And it'll bring up Connor Peterson.
Connor Peterson don't get me wrong, he does start, but he is getting a little bit of an unusual start here today as it is senior day.
Yeah, Peterson, such a strong player, has plenty of experience in this lineup with the emergence of Matt Curtis in his junior year. Definitely been a little bit less to go around in that middle infield. Talk about Riley Brody, his senior day as well. We'll see him a bit later in the lineup. Middle infield, it's tough to get reps. Peterson, though, he's kept his bat consistent throughout it, whether he's getting starts in the field or not. Incredibly valuable for this Bombers lineup. First pitch he'll see today is a strike. 0-1 count, and the bottom of the second is open.
This Bombers lineup, 1 through 9, always a threat to score runs.
Nash moving fast, fires in the second pitch. Grounder to third, play at first, and Peterson jogs it off. It's going to be a ground out, first out of the second inning for the Bombers.
Another weak contact there for the Bombers, trying to get the ball through the infield, but not being able to find a way.
Well, it brings up the senior speedster, Colin Feeney. Let's see if he can get some of the first action going for the Bombers today. Talk about a strong bat. Colin Feeney, he's been moved all around the lineup, all around the batting order, and he always just finds a way to get on base. For Valcente, having someone that valuable that you can shift all across the order, it's definitely a big plus. Sees the first strike in, a 1 count.
Feeney, a speedster, but also does have some pop to his bat, is able to find the outfield.
Well, speaking of the outfield, he's going to send one to left.
with the amount of times he has been throwing over to that first base every time he gets a runner on.
Picosi's first pitch of Munoz's at bat is high, 1-0 count. Petrie's going to keep leading off first quite heavy until Picosi gives him a reason not to. That might be it. Checks up on first. Petrie's there, plenty of time.
He's trying to hold all these runners on. A lot of throws to first, keeping them close.
There's like the narrative for both sides was just an electric start that was almost cut short. It felt like in that first frame of action for Hobart, they could have put up 4 or 5, and it felt like for the Bombers right there, base running mistake from McDonough kind of holds them back on what felt like it could have been even higher scoring than 2 runs in an inning.
It really takes the wind out of your sails there. They seem to be finally building up some momentum, and they all of a sudden lose it. Now it's going to be put on Picazzi to take back kind of that momentum, try to get through a clean inning here and bring the Bombers back up. It's not something you want to see. You really don't want to see those mental errors on the base path. And not only did he kind of take too long of a lead on the base pass, he also slipped on his way back, trying to get over to first base. Coming up here, you have Sean Garvin, single. And that's 1 out in the inning. Now we're going to have Connor O'Neill coming up here, and he had just hit a ball straight to the second baseman for a force out in the first inning as well. So it could be something to watch here. That was a solid contact pitch as well. So it'll be see here how the pitcher approaches him. Getting ready for the pitch here. In for a strikes, and O'Neill is not happy about that one, but nonetheless is in for a strike. Picazzi here, 0-1 count. 1 out in the inning. 0-2 count now. Picazzi seems to have found something here in this inning. He's finally found that strike throwing prowess he's been looking for here. 0-2. Foul just below us, up in the broadcasting booth for still 0-2 count.
Yeah, talk about Picozzi. Just 1 strikeout today, mentioned a bit earlier. Top 3 in the Liberty League, not usually his type of game.
Looking in here. Ball down the right field line, just foul into the bullpen. Still no 2 count here, though. Fighting off a lot of pitches right now. But Picazzi is throwing strikes for the first time today consistently in this inning. In the windup here with the pitch. Couldn't hold the swing. Struck out for strike 3.
Good strike for O'Neill coming into this game. 390 average, not starting every game, but that has been hot so far. It seems like Picozzi had his number.
Cole Conte coming up here now. Grounded out to the second baseman here in the second inning. High pitch, strike 1. And now an 0-1 count. Picozzi looking for his first clean inning of the day here. Ball 1. That was actually Picozzi's now first ball here in the inning as well now for a 1-1 count. Ball 2. 2-1 count here. Picozzi was not happy about that pitch. Seemed to look like he left his hand funny or something. He wasn't happy with the release. Getting set for the 4th pitch of the at-bat. Fouled off right behind them back towards the back wall. Now, 2-2 count here. Picozzi trying to get through this with a clean inning as he gets set for the 5th pitch of the at-bat. High, full count here now. First full count of the inning. First 3 balls of the inning here in this at-bat.
Not the first time we've seen Picozzi handling a 2-out full count. This guy loves the dramatics. Let's see how this one pans out.
He's keeping us on our toes, like we said. Ball 4, and he lost them to a walk after getting ahead 0-2 in the at-bat. For Picozzi, he struggled to throw strikes all day, but that is his first walk of the day, unless you want to count his hit by pitch, but that would not go down as a walk, so I don't think we're gonna.
Brings up Owen Sanders, the senior from Boston, Massachusetts. Spent some time at Gettysburg College. He's found more of a role at Hobart this season. Only appeared in 4 games last year as a junior. Senior season, really getting those full-time catcher looks.
That pitch just missed somewhere now. It's now in a 1-0 count here, but Picozzi was not happy with that one. I think he thought that was in the strike zone. Ball 2, that one missed low and away. 2-0 count now. Picozzi had the strike zone for the first half of this inning, but he seemingly has lost it over these last 2 batters to this point. It's been struggling with that all day long, as we keep talking about a little bit here. 3-0 count now. Second 3-0 count of the day. And he's not happy with this right now. You could see him just a little. Doesn't seem like he's enjoying this. Strike 1 in there. 3-1 count. Runner over at first base with some speed.
Yeah, Ryan, let's see if we can enjoy the rest of this at-bat just a bit more. Tough to start at 3-0, but you can always work your way back. That'll help.
Now fought his way back to a full count, second full count in a row here. He seems to be enjoying the at-bat now, Colin. What do you think?
Definitely seems a bit more happy. Well, he sure likes these 3-2 counts. Likes them full when he likes them with 2 outs.
A little chopper over to the shortstop. And for the put out at the first base, I almost had a clean inning there, but he got into a little trouble with that last 2 batters, but he was able to get through it. Now with the Bombers coming up, it should be interesting to see how the Bombers react after that base pass error in the last inning.
Yeah, definitely hoping for them that they can get the gears rolling a little bit more, just kind of a mental error. It's going to be the first time we see Matt Curtis today. And then, of course, with the speed of Feeney and the pop of Scully, seems like some good things could happen.
Scully had the first hit for the Bombers today back in the second inning, but was stranded over on first base. And like you said, it's going to be Matt Curtis' first at-bat of the day as he leads off this inning for the Bombers. So we'll see what he can do, see if maybe he can start something in his first at-bat today. Another Bomber, though, with power. That just goes to show you, though, how deep this Bombers lineup is. Is Peterson being taken out early in the second inning for Matt Curtis, who has the power, who has the speed, who can hit to all fields.
Well, yeah, Ryan, as you mentioned, Curtis comes in for Peterson at second. Peterson, the senior, Curtis, the junior. You know, got a chance to talk to Matt Curtis the other day, and he just talked about how important these senior leaders are on the team. He says, hey, me as an upperclassman now, me as a junior, I have to step up and show these underclassmen the way that this program goes about being so excellent and being so competitive. But at the same time, I still learn every day from these seniors, and a bit of beauty there as he checks in from Peterson, really someone that helped pave his way, Curtis moving from an outfielder to second base. Connor Peterson was a huge part in that progression. Now here on senior day, 2-2 ball game against the Statesmen, Curtis checks in for him. Kind of beautiful, Ryan.
I mean, like we said, Matt Curtis' first at-bat here of the day. And you're right, though, Colin. These seniors have been tutors for this Bombers program for a long time. You always a lot of times see the seniors take those underclassmen under their wing and help them grow to keep this Bomber succession and this, I would say, machine of a team going. Curtis watched that first pitch in for a strike. Now down in the count 0-1.
Matt Curtis, not just a leader, not just a mentee either. He's on a 6-game hitting streak, .310 average. Would love to see him keep putting that one together.
Watch that pitch now in for a ball and a 1-1 count. And it's curious to see here how they're going to navigate through this inning after getting touched up and with Nash giving up his first 2 runs in the last inning. So we'll see how he goes through this. And Matt Curtis with his first hit and his first at-bat of the game to left field for a base hit. And skied that right over the shortstop.
Making a 7-game hit streak. Curtis in his first action, he shows what he's made of.
You know, Colin, that's probably why he's got that 310 average that you mentioned, only improving upon it now. He is a pure hitter, can hit to all fields, and just has pure power to muscle it through the infield if needed.
Yeah, you don't find Curtis off the base path too often. That's definitely where he's comfortable. He loves getting over there.
Now Colin Feedy with a runner on here. Looking to bunt him over. Bunt to the pitcher. Force out at second base. The bunt did not work. Colin Feedy could not get that runner into scoring position.
Yeah, that was a really heads-up play from Nash. With Feeney, you see someone lay down a bunt, and you see someone with his athleticism chasing first. It's almost a gut reaction to go get him out at first.
Yep.
Heads-up play, knew Curtis was going to have some trouble getting over to second cleanly, and, you know, it's a great play to make at second.
Feeney's not someone you expect to bunt either. Someone with that much power and that hitting potential, but trying to play small ball here and take that lead back, maybe trying to see if they can take that short lead over Hobart and just hold on to it from here.
Well, brings up Logan Scully, and Ryan, hearing that Feeney maybe not expected to bunt is a ridiculous thing to hear at times, but in 2025, his slugging up so much that I almost have to agree with you, but you know, with Feeney, this guy has so much speed that he's kind of a bunt specialist in the past. He's really changed up his game this year.
It's a little surprising to see in this situation for a Bombers team that does like to slug, like you mentioned. But now you have Scully up here. Again, singled in the back in the second inning. See what he can do here. Try to get that runner over to second with a base hit. See what he tries to do. Fouled one back over on top of the Hobart dugout.
That had some funny spin on it, Ryan.
It did. It looks like it was going to go a lot further. Maybe it got caught in the wind there. But now we're down in an 0-2 count here with one out in the bottom of the fourth inning. In a tie 2-2 game, which is Hobart got on early and the Bombers tied up in the bottom of the third here. Watch that one for a ball away. Down in the count 1 and 2. Getting set for the fourth pitch of the at-bat here. Trying to do something with Colin Feeney over at first base. Colin Feeney getting a lead. And checking on him over at first base, but wasn't really close to getting him there with that speed.
Yeah, Feeney still remains the steals leader in the conference. Really hard to chase him off the base path.
Took a little bit of a longer lead that time. Was probably thinking about going there, but no dice, and now it's 2-2 count here.
Bit of a mental battle for Nash. I mean, when you face the Bombers, you're getting put in the situation a lot, but just so much speed on first and a really great hitter standing right in front of you. You got to make different choices.
That ball skied over to right field, looking, but just out of play into the bleachers.
Credit to Garvin. He's hopping the wall, going by some of the creative media members, seeing if he can get a hand out and snatch that one. Rolls into the second row of the bleachers, so can't make a play, but not for the sake of not trying.
Yeah, he definitely tried to reach over there, and he just a little out of his arm's reach there. Nash now with a 2-2 count here on Scully. Another throw over to first base with Feeney, like you mentioned, the steals leader, but not really challenging him too much here. But you never know. You could always take off at any minute with that speed.
Yeah, Nash is still thinking about him every time he squares up.
Second throw over in a row here, and a 2-2 count. It's almost playing mind games with him at this point, getting just a long enough lead to go, but nothing too tempting.
You call it mutual mind games. I can't tell who's winning.
And he's going, but the pitch fouled off by Scully, so he'll have to head back. Still in a 2-2 count here. With all those throws over to first base, trying to keep Feeney from going. Like you said, this is a little bit of a battle of mind games between first and the mound. Both guys staying on their toes with the pitch. And he watched that miss somewhere for a full count now.
Yeah, just a bit high. Scully really thought about that one. He even looked over to the ump and said, which going to call because that one was real close.
Yeah, he was definitely. I think there was a little bit of surprise in everyone's eyes on that pitch because that was borderline. That could have gone either way. Base hit or lined over to the center fielder, and Feeney will have to head back to first base. That was a close one. He had the center fielder kind of get caught in between there. He wasn't sure whether to run forward or go back with all this wind blowing around.
Yeah, we saw Burns misjudge similar looking hit earlier, so I think with Scully that there's a chance that one could drop without Burns getting there. Burns took a much better route and got it while it was still in the air.
He almost was a little hesitant on that one, probably because of that play earlier in the inning.
Definitely was overthinking it a bit, but it brings up Puglisi here.
Puglisi now on with a runner on first base still, and Nash is not letting him go anywhere. Keeps getting those throws over to first base.
Yeah, well, if there ever is a scouting report on the Bombers, you highlight Colin Feeney in red and say, do not let steal, because he's thinking about it the whole time.
Is it in big, bold letters, too, you think?
I think the largest font you could physically read should probably say, Feeney's going to run.
Watch out. And Tech Nash probably read that part of the memo.
Seems like it so far.
Hit it into center field and caught for the third out of the inning. You had Feeney stranded on first. Now, one runner left on base here. Now we're going to head into the top of the fifth inning. And we're going to see with a tie 2-2 ball game how Hobart starts to approach this now.
Yeah, it's going to start with Burns. We just saw him on the defensive side put away the last two Bombers batters. He's going to get a chance to lead off. Once again, like a lot of the statesmen at the bottom half of this order, he hasn't really had the strongest hitting season. We've seen throughout his career he is a positive batter. He's had some really strong moments, but this season really hasn't gone his way. So why not try to keep that rolling in this game? You already got a hit earlier, your first time at bat in the second inning. Why not make it 2 for 2? That's going to, for the stats guys out there, it's going to boost your averages a little bit, make you look a little bit better, huh?
I mean, it looks better to everyone. If you look at a 400 batting average, that looks a lot prettier than a 200 batting average. It's a simple way to put it. But it's going to also improve those smaller stats when you have like OPS and all those real stats guys that get really interested into it.
Yeah, I can't say that's me. Burns this year, I know one thing, his average is 220. His on-base percentage isn't too much better. Burns, such a particular player. Statesmen hoping they don't see this side of him in this one, but he's pitched plenty of times this year. He came in as a two-way player. They're giving him chances up at the bump, even at the start of this season. Last season, he had 10 appearances, ended with an ERA under 1, including an outing against Ithaca where we only allowed 1 hit. You think, hey, this guy really is a two-way player. This year, his ERA hangs out over 10. They haven't let him pitch in weeks. So it would be curious if we see that there, but even with the 220 average, I think Hobart can agree. He gives you a lot more in the batter's box.
Agreed. He's definitely a threat in that batter's box. And with Petrie behind you, your goal is just to get on base, give him a chance to do something.
Yeah, we saw it in the last time he got on base. Still had Petrie to go out there and join him.
First pitch in for a strike now, and it's something huge there for him. So see how he keeps approaching this now. In an 0-1 count. 0-2 count now, just working quickly too. He's not holding anything back here.
Yeah, because he looks fresh. We wouldn't have expected a substitution this early or anything like that, but he has thrown quite a lot, and he's still out there moving quick.
And a base hit into right field, but gathered by the center fielder. And now you have Jack Burns leading off of a base hit for the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, and we talked about how the hitting hasn't really been where you want it, but in this game, 2 for 2, you never would have guessed. And talk about speed that the Bombers have. Burns has quite a lot of it himself. Now it allows Petrie to go get to work. Very reminiscent, probably the most reminiscent out of anyone in this conference of what Ithaca does with Brody and McDermott. That's what Hobart has been hoping to do with Burns and Petrie. It's worked thus far.
Found their way right here in the top of the fifth inning. And now Picosi with another pitch in for a strike. Still throwing strikes like he was last inning, but let's see if he can hold that through the entirety of the inning, which he seemed to have lost in the latter part of the inning. Pitch in for missed wide for a ball. 1-1 count here. That pitch was in the other's batter's box.
Yeah, and it started looking good. That one broke off towards the side a little bit. The movement wasn't in the direction that would have been beneficial for Picosi.
Something to keep note, though, of is the Bombers have won back-to-back starts with Picazzi pitching on the mound. Ball hit down towards the right fielder, caught for the first out of the inning, and Burns will head back over to first base. Second time today Petrie was retired. And now you have Evan Munez coming up for the third batter in the inning. Lined out to center fielder in the third inning, and then he was hit by a pitch back in the first. Got on the painful way.
Yeah, Munoz, he hasn't got a whole lot of action this season all year. 7 hits and 19 at-bats, including what we've seen today.
That pitch in for high in the strike zone for a strike one.
Yeah, the junior out of Sudbury, Massachusetts, though. He's clearly a talented player, and hitting second in the lineup, I think it shows, hey, there's got to be some faith in him, and what marks arguably the biggest game Hobart has left on their schedule. If they walk out winning this one, that's a real big pat on the back, considering their conference play hasn't gone the way they want.
Picozzi, though, still watching those running game as he sent Burns back over to first base, scrambling a little bit to get back in.
And we see Picozzi really no matter who he's going against, whether there's speed on the base path or not. He feels comfortable checking up.
A little dribbler over to the shortstop. Played it first, second out of the inning. Now gets the runner over into scoring position for Connor Schmeidlin coming up.
And talk about the sure-handed glove of Brody. Wasn't the most difficult play he's ever going to see, but really makes every play look incredibly smooth. Could have had a really tough play at second. Not surprisingly, he decided to go for the easy one at first. Now it gives Picozzi a chance to get out of here.
Just get the out sometimes. You didn't want to challenge the speed. You want to get the sure out to give Picozzi an easy chance to navigate through this inning. Take the sure out when in doubt. That pitch for a ball, now down 1-0 in the count. Picozzi's someone who's been a little up and down this game so far. He's had his moments where he just, runner running, gets to throw over the third base, but he's in safely. Now runner over on third with 2 outs.
Yeah, that was a heck of a lead and heck of a dash from Munoz. He went the whole way. Picozzi didn't even see it. By the time Scully had the ball in his glove, he was already head first at the plate. At the bag. It was just an incredible take. It really caught what felt like the entire Bombers infield off guard.
Picozzi forgot to check over on him that play, but the ball bounced over the shortstop for the final out of the inning. And Picozzi has now had another clean inning, 5 in a row. Now heading into the bottom of the 5th, you're going to have Lobster leading off the inning for Riley Brody, and Andrew McDermott coming back in at the top of the order. So it's going to loop back around again for the Bombers for the second time this game. And so, like we mentioned earlier, this depth of the Bombers lineup is going to be able to help because you could have, like you said, Colin, you could have Brody leading off somewhere. So having him coming up second in the inning as the 9th hitter is awesome for the Bombers.
Yeah, and for the Bombers, you hope that this 5th inning can be reminiscent of what you got going in the 3rd inning. That 3rd inning starts with the Lobster leading off. He's hit by the pitch. Brody hits that triple to center, which was an incredible play on the base path to get him safe at 3rd and Lobster, of course, home. Then after that, that's when we saw that running error from McDonough, you could call it. But at the end of the day, that's the way that Ithaca's 2 runs in this game have came by a way of Lobster leading off and the rest of the guys doing their part. So in the bottom of the 5th here, Ithaca trying to repeat that success.
That's what you say. Baseball is one of those team sports. You can't win a game by yourself, but if you have a team effort, it's much easier to win, and that's kind of what the Bombers are doing here. The top of the order is struggling a little bit, but you have the bottom of the order that was able to come through and set the table for McDermott. Now, heading in here, like we said, you have Lobster, Brody, and McDermott coming up. And you have Nash, who's still tearing through this Bombers lineup, though, only allowing 4 hits through 4 innings so far, with most of those coming in the last inning. So we'll see how he bounces back here.
Yeah, no hits in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, consistently keeping Bombers off the base path.
Lobster watches the first pitch as it goes in for a strike. 0-1 the count. Bombers tied 2-2 here. And a swing and a miss for the second strike. Lobster was It almost looked like he was swinging for the fences there, but no luck swinging there.
Yeah, just a bit ahead of that one.
Ball, comebacker back to the pitcher. He'll take it and throw it to the first baseman for the first out in the inning. For a 1-3 putout. Now Riley Brody coming up, who drove in the first run of the game for the Bombers with a triple to center field. That almost fooled the center fielder earlier.
Yeah, tough jump by Burns. We've definitely emphasized that, but Brody got a real good piece of that one. I think it would have been a tough play even if Burns got the correct route. And we've seen Brody ties Feeney for most triples in the Liberty League.
Ball dribbled right over towards the second baseman and to the pitcher for the second out of the inning. Nash kind of just inducing little dribblers over there into the infield to get easy outs.
Yeah, and Brody, I mean, moved incredibly quick. I was still going on a spiel on his triples. Meanwhile, he's making contact. First pitch just grounds it straight to second base, and Nash is working quick in this one, as you mentioned.
Now you're going to have Andrew McDermott coming up for the third time in this game, and he'll look to see if he can get something going here of 2 outs. An on-base machine, as we mentioned, but he pops this one up on the infield. Should be playable, and in for the final out as the pop-up goes in for the third out of the inning. Now the Bombers turn this one back over pretty quickly to Hobart in the top of the 6th inning.
Yeah, not the game that McDermott has been looking for so far. Fly out to left, fly out to right, and that pop-up maintains by the second baseman for Hobart. Hasn't really found his bat so far, but at the end of the day, still a tie ball game. It just really feels like one team is going to have to take the momentum in this one. We've seen short swings. We've seen 2 individual strong batting innings across the game, one for each side. It's just who can string that momentum longer. Of course, Bombers hoping it's them on their home field, but Hobart, they'd love to play spoiler. Always a frame to get it done, huh?
Yeah, Hobart is trying to just get their second win in the last 40-something years over the Bombers. But something to keep an eye on is Picazi on the mound, but a little action going over there in the Bombers bullpen. Could be getting ready to have a short leash for Picazi in this inning.
Yeah, Bombers got a lefty going in there. You think it might be Sean Kelly. You think it might be Danny Drodos. Can't tell from here at the moment, but would not be surprised if it was either of those folks. But Picazi, he's still going.
Both those guys, somewhat, especially Sean Kelly, who can give you multiple innings if the Bombers see it's needed. Hobart going to have Nate Johnson, Sean Garvin, and Connor O'Neill coming up here in the 6th inning. With Sean Garvin leading off, he had a base hit back in the first inning, drove in both of Hobart's runs earlier in the game. Excuse me, Sean Garvin had both RBIs. Nate Johnson has struck out today and grounded out. And pops this one up, but just out of play over on the first base side for a strike 1, 0-1 the count. Hobart hasn't really been able to put together much offensively outside of a typical runner or 2 in the inning, but hasn't really threatened since the first inning.
Yeah, once again, that first inning, that's really where they got the bats rolling. Since then, there's been a hit there, here and there.
They've had their base runners, but have typically stranded them over at first base, outside of the last inning where they were able to get to the runner to second, and then he stole third.
Yeah, we saw Munoz moving incredibly quick on the base path.
That pitch fouled off as he tried to check swing there for a 1-2 count now. And Nate Johnson looking to put the ball in play here most likely, make something happen. I think he thought that hit him, but the umpire says no as he was heading over to first base. Now for a 2-2 count, though.
Really curious to see how Picazi wraps up this inning, assuming this is the last work he gets. We've been talking about some of his control issues so far, but really he's put together a really solid outing, hoping that can continue.
And that ball was fouled off just over next to us on the roof of Sriracha here.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one to grab.
Yeah, they might need a ladder for that one to get that one later. But now you have a 2-2 count here, and like you said, that ball was swung at and missed for strike 3. But the Bombers throwing it around the infield here as I guess the batter thought that ball was not caught as he ran over to first base.
Yeah, Johnson was testing it out, seeing if Scully may have dropped it. Scully shows to the ump and says, hey, I got it the whole time.
Yep.
Let's just throw it around the infield.
So now, first out of the inning, and you have, like you said though, Colin, Picasso coming up here. It'll be interesting to see how he navigates this inning, but he has had a solid start, though he has had a lot of traffic on the base paths today. He hasn't really been let the runners get too far around to put them into scoring position. He's been able to keep the damage at bay, only allowing 2 runs. Pitch high for ball 1 there. Or, sorry, called strike, and now a 1-1 count.
That one snuck in. It was a bit high, though. And, yeah, Picozzi, I mean, hasn't been the cleanest day he's ever going to have, but it's been solid. And, you know, that goes a long way, especially with some of the struggles throughout the year we've seen from Ithaca's starting pitching. Giving your relievers a better spot to be in, that's never going to hurt.
And now a 2-1 count here with Picozzi definitely getting his pitch count up there. With Sean Kelly waiting in the wings, most likely for the next inning, or if Picozzi gets in trouble here. That ball hit hard over to the shortstop, but corralled for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, another good play by Brody.
Looking for an easy final 6th inning here, which would build on his last start where he also went 6 innings, allowing 4 earned runs. That would be I'd say 2 solid outings in a row for Picozzi.
It's going to bring up Connor O'Neill. Talked about him a bit earlier. He's one of the bats on this team that is hot. I think around 390 on the year. He's really picked it up as of late, too. This game, not so much. Struck out in his last at-bat. Had a ground out to short just a bit earlier.
Now he's down 0-1 in this account here to Picozzi. As he takes that ball high for ball 1, now 1-1 count. And this is a key at bat here because you want to see almost test the waters, see if getting a runner on will force a pitching change. But that pitch sent wide for a 2-1 count now. Almost in the other batter's box again. And Picozzi has, we were talking about it earlier, he was someone that when he's throwing the ball in the strike zone and he's throwing it fast, he is almost unhittable.
He has really good stuff. See it right there.
That was shown there with that swing and a miss, making Connor O'Neill almost swing wildly at that one, trying to get contact on the ball for a 2-2 count. But when he has great stuff, when he's throwing in the strike zone, he's throwing it fast. When he loses control, that's where he starts to get himself into trouble. Fouled that one off the plate for, well, strike 2. Still looking for that put-away pitch to get through this inning for his first clean inning of the day where he did not allow a base runner, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be the first one. Assuming you can get out of this since the 4th, where no one got him. He didn't allow a hit. First one of this entire game. With no base runners if he can do so.
Called strike 3 for the final out of the top of the 6th. Now the Bombers will get a chance to take the lead in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, what a pitch from Picozzi there. At the end of the day, you don't want to say that there's any added pressure when you see someone warming up in the pen, but for Picozzi, you know that your outing might be cut short if you can't handle what's in front of you, and just had 3 really solid batters faced, looked really great the whole time, and Ryan, you've been talking about that put-away pitch so much. That's never been a problem for Picozzi until this game. You start to see the flaws there, and once again, I truly think that fastball can be the put-away pitch when he's putting it in competitive spots.
Yeah, if you can get that ball in the strike zone, it is hard to hit. It's hard for these batters to catch up to it. But now moving over to the Bombers offense, you're going to have Ethan McDonough leading off the inning with Fantel and Matt Curtis coming up behind him. And McDonough has already singled today. Fantel was hit into a double play, but that was the weird double play where there was an error on the base paths, and then you have Matt Curtis who singled in his first at-bat today as a substitution.
Yeah, and on the bump for Hobart, still going to be Tech Nash. We've talked ad nauseum about how great he's been today. And both pitchers really have one inning that they want back, and besides that, have been putting together some of their best stuff. They've been giving us a gem so far. First game of a triple-header, you always expect to see some of the best arms. Maybe we're a bit spoiled. And it's been no different in this one.
Tech Nash has been definitely giving the Bombers troubles at the plate today, limiting them to only 4 hits, and he only hit 1 batter as well, and walked 1. and walks 1. So he's been stumping most of these Bombers hitters all day long. No one's really been able to put together anything solid contact with only the 1 triple, which, again, was a little bit of a misplay in the outfield that allowed the triple to happen. But other than that, there's been no extra base hits for the Bombers. For a team that we talked about having so much power, having a hard time getting that ball into the corners.
Yeah, a bit of conversation going. You hear McDonough's walk-up song. He walks up to the plate, then turns around, shakes it off, heads back to the dugout. Bit of confusion on what's going on.
Maybe he grabbed the wrong bat or something, was a little confused there. Looks like we're getting a pinch hitter here.
Yeah, and there's the substitution. McDonough heads to the dugout. Trey Walker, first-year student, he walks out. And
something weird there, but
yeah, maybe just a miscommunication. It looked like McDonough thought he was up the whole way. Once again, they're playing his walk-up music, but instead it's Trey Walker. He's ready to go, so that's going to do it for McDonough's day, and it brings in the first year.
Walker's had some success in his recent games. He has 9 runs scored in the last 5 games, as well as 7 walks. Not afraid to take a pitch, as he showed there for the ball 1. And see how he approaches this bat as he is a new batter. As he takes ball 2 there. Like I said, he's taking pitches. I wonder if that was in the memo. What do you think there?
Which part? That Nash should watch out for Trey Walker? Because if so, I think that might have to be in red lettering as well. Freshman sent 340 on the year, and you just cannot allow this man on the base path. Talk about Feeney, but I call Walker his prodigy with the wheels he's got.
And that's his goal, get on the base pass, cause some chaos, make some steals, make something happen.
And you saw in that Cortland's game, he didn't go up and hit, but he pinch ran. He was part of that last at-bat that brought Ithaca home and gave him the win.
Called strike 2 there, 2-2 count. Walker has yet to swing the bat here in this at-bat, taking all of his pitches there.
Yeah, I mean, it's his first time coming up in this game. There's his first swing.
Fouled it off for a 2-2 count now. And I think his goal here is just to get on base. Like we said, he has 7 walks in his last 5 games, which just shows to show you he just wants to get on base so he can make something happen. But called strike 3 there for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, a bit unlucky. Well, here's some freshman to freshman connection. Walker goes down looking, but Fantel, he hasn't really found his stride so far in this one, so, he has a chip on his shoulder to go out there and make something work.
Fantel was that double play like we mentioned earlier and then grounded out as well in the first inning, but lines that one into center field for the second out of the inning.
Another fly out for Fantel. Still, maybe I'm just a bit more curious than most, but really interested to see what was happening with McDonough there. It felt like he thought he was going to get another at-bat at that point. Really seems like the whole arena felt that way. And then
it's a little strange play there.
Yeah, Trey Walker comes up. Leads to Fantel flying out right after, but now it's Matt Curtis.
Matt Curtis watches that one for ball 1. In his first at-bat, he had a base hit here. So we'll see what he does here now in his second bat of the day. Ball 2 now, 2-0 count.
Yeah, and we saw Walker sub into the game and attack with a patient approach. Matt Curtis did quite the opposite. He came in for Peterson, swung at the first thing he liked.
And went for a base hit.
Got a base hit out of it, exactly.
It's a little different here, taking the first 2 pitches for a 2-0 count now, though. Called strike. Now 2-1 count. That was a little bit on the edge of the plate there. Just caught the corner. 2-1 count. Matt Curtis still waiting for that pitch he likes, as you mentioned. You have to swing the bat. And swing over to the shortstop. Jumps over the third baseman. Got the throw off but he is safe. And first baseman not happy with that play, but Matt Curtis is safe over at first as they had to jump to make the play there. And it was a little weird. I mean, that was a weird play unfolding there.
Yeah, Ryan, I can tell you Johnson and Conti probably won't be sitting next to each other on the bus ride home. That was a strange play from Conti. Came all the way up. Felt like Johnson had it the whole way. And at the end of the day, it was going to be tough regardless, but didn't expect to have to hurdle to try to get out Matt Curtis at first. And now it gives the Bombers another chance to do some damage.
Not every day you see hurdling in baseball. I thought that was more of a track sport, but
Kind of looked like the great Brandon Phillips. Of course, he's more of a second baseman, but that's one of the only guys on the planet I think could have made that play.
something to be said there for Johnson's athleticism. But now, Nate gets the first pitch over for a strike, and you're going to have Colin Feeney up there looking for his first hit of the game. Hit into a fielder's choice earlier and lined out to left field in the second. So now he's still looking for his first hit in 1-1 count. For runner on first base. Matt Kerr's second time reaching today. That's as that wall was lined into center field right through the infield to get runners on first and second.
Yeah, really strong piece of hitting from Feeney. And as you mentioned, he hadn't had the most successful game with the bat in his hands thus far, but that mistake from Conti and Johnson on the left side of the infield, well, now it leads to Curtis on second, Feeney on first, and Mr. $1 Million worth of game, Logan Scully up to bat.
Logan Scully. That last bat may have been the most normal at bat of this inning, but now let's see what Logan Scully can do with it with a runner in scoring position for the first time since back in the third inning when the Bombers had a runner on third with a triple. Logan Scully watches that pitch for ball one as that was away. Gets set for the pitch. Both runners getting a little bit of a lead there, testing the waters. Feeney was almost debating or going there, but Matt Curtis did not. Scully, 1-1 count here. Swing and a miss for strike two. May have gotten a little bit of a piece of that, but 1-2 count nonetheless. Something that I find interesting is Logan Scully's a little shimmy as he gets ready to take the pitches.
It's definitely a unique setup he has, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Grounds that one over to third for the final out of the inning. Now we're going to be heading into the top of the seventh. We're still with a tie game here, 2-2 since back in the fourth inning.
Yeah, the Statesmen and the Bombers, they've been giving us some good action. Ryan, as you mentioned, 2-2 game as we enter the top of the seventh. Two great individual innings for both sides with the bats in their hands and some pretty good performances from the pitching staff. We've seen Nash and Picozzi go all the way until this point, and look who's back on the mound. It is Picozzi.
Picozzi with that perfect inning, allowing Valicente to have the faith in him to send him back out there for the seventh inning. But you still have pitchers ready in the bullpen to come in just in case.
Of course, always got to keep the guys ready, but with the way Picozzi's been pitching, I wouldn't want to take him out either.
He seems to have found himself in the last two innings, throwing almost nothing but strikes, not really getting into much trouble either.
Yeah, only one hit allowed in those last two innings. Keeps him up and fresh for the seventh. When you look over the Statesman side, you're going to get the bottom half of the lineup, the bottom three with Conti, Sanders, and Burns. Those guys have been coming alive just a bit more recently. We saw Burns find his way on base in his last at-bat, as well as Conti, who got walked. Well, Picozzi on the mound, Conti first, and the top of the seventh will be underway in just a moment.
This should be an interesting inning, seeing the Bombers left a couple of runners left on base in the last inning, and now you're going to have Picozzi back on the mound for the long haul. He's definitely getting up there in pitch count, probably getting close to 100 at this point. So it's interesting to see.
You would think so. And talking about the defensive substitutions for the Bombers, of course, we saw the pinch hit from Trey Walker. He came in for McDonough. McDonough was in right. McDermott's going to move to center. Feeney's going to move to right. Left field spot is open for Trey Walker. He's going to man it. Cole Conti, the third baseman out of St. James, New York, in around 260 on the season. And he's up to bat once again, was walked in his last at-bat.
That was the lone walk of the day given up by Picozzi.
Yeah, pitch is low, 1-0 count. And talk about guys who don't want to let on base. Conti's got 11 stolen bases this season. Let him on the base path. Always a chance it could be more. 1-0 pitch is low, 2-0 count.
Goes again, get into that little bit of trouble where he gets behind the batters, which has usually been a recipe for disaster for him, allowing runners on base.
Never want to fall behind. Let's see how Picozzi works out of that jam. Conti, he's jammed up.
That one ran in a little bit on him, almost caught him on the hands there.
Luckily for Conti, his hands were safe. Just caught around the knob side of his bat. Going to be a 2-1 count. Little extra speed in the outfield, as if the Bombers lacked any with Walker in there. But McDermott in center. That pitch runs outside, 3-1 count. And Feeney in right. Both of those guys comfortable in those positions, but changes things if you see a fly ball out to the outfield. You know, it's these guys in their first spots of the day, moving around. We saw them make this transition when Laney moved out to the outfield. That pitch is outside, and it will be another walk for Cole Conti. That's 2 of his 2 last at-bats, 2 in a row. Brings up Sanders.
Interesting, it looks like Picosi is going to get the hook here as Valcente is coming out to the mound now.
Coach Valcente takes the ball from Picosi, and that marks his day, a deserved round of applause. Frightful first inning, marked a great rest of the game. Walked a couple, struck out a couple, but for the most part handled business. And that does it for the sophomore's day. It will be Sean Kelly for the Bombers coming into the matchup.
Kelly's been dominant for the Bombers coming out of the bullpen. He's been one of their best relievers, almost always giving the Bombers a sure outing here.
Yeah, marks his 16th appearance of the season, working exclusively out of the bullpen. 3.2 ERA and a whip, hanging around 1.4, and adds a bit of diversity with the left-handed pitching approach, of course. With the Bombers, they only have 4 lefties all across the rotation. For Hobart, they only have 1 that gets consistent innings. At the Division III level in the Liberty League, being a lefty, it only means that much more. Some guys really struggle to hit off these sure-handed left-handed pitchers.
Something to keep note here, though, Sean Kelly, he hasn't allowed a run in his last 3 outings, and he's only given up runs in 4 appearances this year. He has been one of the best relievers, and he also has 3 saves. Though this is not a save situation at the moment, it shows you how much trust Valcente has in Sean Kelly here.
Yeah, this guy just always tends to come in the big moments, and you can see why. He's going to get a round of applause from the crowd as he is acknowledged entering the game.
Someone that the Bombers heavily rely on this year, and because he is so good in these high leverage situations, and this is a fairly high leverage situation at this point in the game. Runner on first base, Owen Sanders and Jack Burns coming up, and Burns has been hot as well, so a dangerous batter you want to watch out for.
Cozy's final line, 5 innings pitched, allowed 4 hits, struck out 4, 2 runs, not quite 4 hits, just a couple more. Make it 5 hits. Got to get my readers in check, but Picosi, his eyesight was just fine. Had a great day up at the bump.
He knew exactly where he was throwing that ball all game long for the most part.
You know what he was looking at. Well, let's hope Sean Kelly feels the same. It's going to be Sanders up at the plate. Once again, the senior out of Boston, Massachusetts. His average is around 200 this year. Been struggling to get on base. His first real year of action. Junior year, didn't get a whole lot of time. The senior season, he's been catching full time. Sanders thinks about bunting, lays off, but the pitch is well outside. It's going to allow Conti to advance to second.
Sanders looked a little scared there as that pitch was inside, almost caught him in the head as he was low for that bunt.
Yeah, he got in a real low position to try to lay that one into the ground, and that was coming right at his grill. Athletic play to get out of the way, but not how Sean Kelly wanted to start his outing. First pitch, runner moves to second. Sanders shows bunt again, another pitch inside. Thought that one might have marked him up for a second. He got out of the way once again. It's 2 times Sanders showed bunt. 2 times he's had to get out of the way.
Fantel and Brody are both playing pretty close, especially Fantel, who is almost past the pitcher at this point looking for that bunt.
Yeah, he's all the way in. Sanders shows it again.
That
to Lobster. Kelly slides and makes the play, throws it well off target. That's going to bring Conti in from third. That's going to bring Sanders to second, and Sean Kelly was just doing a bit too much, and Curtis couldn't cover up first. That brings in a run for the Statesman.
Sean Kelly rushed that throw there. Definitely a chance to get him, but rushed the throw and allowed the run to score.
Yeah, it felt like Lobster didn't get the jump that he was looking for, so Kelly felt like he had to play Superman, slide over, and make a barehanded play. It was in the vicinity of Curtis, but would have been a tough scoop. Well, Conti scores all the way from second. He walked, stole second, and then got to home on the error. Brings up Burns. We saw him get a hit in the direction of the second baseman last time. Actually, the last 2 times, 2 for 2 on the day. 9-hole hitter having one of his best performances with the bat in his hands this season. And the Bombers looking to get out of trouble. Runner on second, 0-1 count after the first pitch strike. No outs. Sean Kelly's first work of the day.
Another man looking for a bunt there, but faked it and lined that to center field.
There's Burns to center field. Rounding third is Sanders. He holds up, jumps all the way back. That's another hit for Burns. Right in between McDermott and Feeney out in the outfield.
Now have runners at first and third with nobody out here. Sean Kelly treading dangerous waters right now.
Well, Hobart takes a 3-2 lead. No outs. And we're back at the top of the lineup. Petrie, 1 hit in this game. A fly out to right. And a grounder to second.
Petrie, a dangerous hitter at the plate, and even more dangerous if you let him get on the bases.
Runners on the corners. He's going to lay down a bunt. Perfectly placed. Kelly has to take the out at first. Fantel holds him up, but it brings home another run for the Statesmen. And just like that, they've taken a 2-run advantage.
Now, Sean Kelly's going to have to find a way to navigate through this inning without giving it much more damage. It's getting late here in this inning, now down 4-2. How the tides have flipped.
Well, it's going to bring Munoz back up once again. He's got a runner in scoring position at second. That would be Burns, the speedster. Doesn't make life any bit easier for Kelly. First pitch is inside, 1-0 count, 1 out on the board.
Again, another guy who could potentially lay down a bunt here. All the speed in this Hobart lineup makes the Bombers look slow at this point.
Not a whole lot of times they're going to see that with the speed for the Bombers, but Hobart, hey, maybe doing their best Ithaca impression. They've put the wheels on as well. Munoz is no exception. Swung on that one, fouled it off behind him. 1-1 count, 1 out. Taking a big lead off second is Burns. Curtis is looking at him. Called strike. Pops out Scully's glove, but he finds it real quick. Now Kelly back in the driver's seat after what has been a messy start to his appearance.
Kelly, acting very un-Kelly-like at this point so far through the outing, getting into a lot more trouble than he's used to.
1-2 pitch. High fly ball. Caught by Fantel in foul territory. He put some gas on that one, keeps Burns solid at second. That's going to mark the second out of the frame for Kelly.
Good play by Kelly to make sure that ball didn't go anywhere and keep the runner at second base. That was a little off target there. And a strong throw.
Yeah, great play from Fantel to even make Burns think about it. It almost felt like he was gunning no matter what. Brings up Schemeldy. Fly out, ground out. And his first at-bat was a hit. We've seen it all from him so far. First pitch runs way high. 1-0 count.
This is a key spot. If you can get out of this inning, minimizing the damage, that's huge for the Bombers. Only going down by 2 is a lot different than going down by 3, especially at this stage in the game. Only 3 innings of at-bats left for the Bombers.
Kelly going to look to do just that. Schemeldy fouls that one off. 1-1 count. And in the game that I've continued to define as one of great individual innings, well, we saw 2 in the first for Hobart, 2 in the third for the Bombers, and right now in the 7th, top of the 7th, Hobart putting up 2 more. Kelly going to try to hold it to that. That's a fly ball left field. Trey Walker's going to have to make a play. Is he under it? Yes, he is. Had to turn back shoulder, but got the out nonetheless. So the damage is held to 2 in the top of the 7th. Allows Hobart to take the 4-2 lead, and Sean Kelly had to work out of a tough spot, but the damage is done.
Yeah, the Bombers definitely put a little strain on the game in that last inning, but they were able to get out of very little damage there. And Walker definitely with a good play there to get that last out, as he was almost sent for a ride there. Had a hard time tracking that ball down as it was lined out.
Yeah, it starts to get a little bit darker on the Ithaca College campus. Didn't lose that one in the sun. He was able to find it quite easily. Athletic play nonetheless. Well, it brings up Puglisi, Labsher, and Barati, a part of the lineup that, although it is the bottom three, has been quite strong today. All of them individually have found some work. And it marks the first time in the game we're going to see Puglisi open up an inning. New pitcher on the mound for Hobart. It's going to be number 46 for the Statesman. Yeah, I know. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Last page. Last page.
Jake Schultz will be coming in for Hobart here, who's been solid so far this season, but he has 10 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, and 1 walk. And he didn't allow any runs last year either, so he has been phenomenal coming out of the pen. He's made for these close game situations at this point.
Yeah, Schulte, the sophomore. Going to see how much of that is teed up to him not getting these chances, but clearly there's some faith there from the Hobart coaching staff.
I mean, eventually you have to give these types of relievers a chance, especially when they're putting up those numbers. I mean, you might as well challenge him, see what he's made of.
How could you not?
With those numbers, I can't think of a better time to give him a chance. A little bit of a cushion here of a 2-run lead, but nothing too extravagant where you feel like things could go bad quickly.
Well, it marks the day for Tech Nash. Had a great time saying his name, but Statesman fans had a great time watching him as well. He put together a really solid outing. Allowed only 2 runs and puts his relievers in a prime position to go out and try to play spoiler on the road. Schulte's got the ball. Puglisi steps into the bat, and we're off for the bottom frame of the 7th inning.
Well, Guessie's still looking for his first hit of the day. Only man at the bottom of this order that still hasn't found his first hit.
It would come in a big way here. Bombers dugout chirping. Puglisi sees the first one down the gut. 0-1 count.
That Bombers dugout is always loud, no matter what time of the game, how the game's going. It's something that you always see. It's what makes me realize how much fun this team is usually having.
Puglisi sees another one. That's a mantra you could hold tight across all Bomber sports. It's a really special atmosphere that Ithaca has, whether you're watching the conference championship volleyball team, as that one's fouled off. Watching that very competitive volleyball team, hey, maybe you're watching the football team, you're watching the conference championship men's basketball team. The energy, it rings true. All of the coaches across campus, they want their team fired up, no matter the situation. Ryan, as you mentioned, baseball is no different. Puglisi's going to strike out swing, and he wants that one back.
That first hit still evading him in this game.
Well, it brings up Brian Labsher, and I talked so heavily about how Tech Nash moved at this incredible speed. Well, Schulte, he's doing the same thing. The second he gets the ball back, he's already geared up for the next pitch. Ryan Labsher was hit by a pitch, had a ground out that ran right back up to Tech Nash. He fouls the first pitch off 0-1 count.
Bombers still trying to find some momentum here in this inning after falling behind in the top of the 7th. It's a 2-2 game for the longest time going back to the 3rd inning, but now the Bombers trailing by 2 again.
4-2 now. That one bounced to 3rd. Will be a foul ball.
It's close, but Labsher probably got a little lucky there.
Yeah, Conti was hoping that one could be called fair because he had a great play to be made.
And he has a great arm over there at third base, too. Labsher was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd, looking to reach base for the 2nd time today.
Schulte's got him in an 0-2 count. Makes contact out to shallow right field. Drops in foul territory.
That would have been a tough play to make, but he gave it his all there, diving and rolling, barrel rolling to get back up, but was just a little short to get there. Into no man's land over there between first base and right field.
Yeah, Garvin and Schmelty, they both tried to take chase at that one. Lands safely in foul territory. A little bit more on Jake Schulte, sophomore out of Hingham, Massachusetts, this Hobart team. They got a lot of Northeast representation, especially the Mass guys.
You love that one, don't you, Colin?
Love a little Massachusetts as a Manor myself. No, I always got to show love to New England. 2024 pitched a little over 6 innings across 4 appearances. As Ryan mentioned, no runs allowed in those appearances. Got 10 innings this year, doing more of the same. Lobster, contact, deep center field. That one drops. He's going to round first. Does he land at second or does he push more? Stops at second. A great piece of hitting. And now Lobster takes a knee, takes a breath, can finally relax.
In standing for a double. That's the first extra base hit since back in the 3rd inning when the Bombers had the triple.
And I wouldn't be going out on a limb to say that came in a big way. Seems like the Bombers needed something in this frame after watching Kelly get pieced up just a bit. And Ryan Lobster hits the Lobster mash. Now here's Riley Brody.
Bombers need to find a way to get him home, get some runs back.
And that's going to help. Wild pitch allows Lobster to go to third, and he's loving that. Now, last time that Brody had a man on third and he was up to bat, he launched a triple. He had no doubts about it. So to think that Brody couldn't bring home Lobster now would be a bit out of the scope of reality. Would be a big one here.
All Brody needs to do is put this ball in play.
1-0 pitch, sees it low, make it 2-0.
Find a way to get the runner from third home. That's only 90 feet away. Should be doable.
Seen Jake Schulte being put in a tough spot early. Brody chips that one to foul territory on right.
See Lobster almost playing with Schultz a little bit over there at third base. You got the righty who can see him, so he's dancing a little bit down the third base line.
Yeah, it would be a sight to see Lobster try to steal home. We've seen crazier things for this Bombers team. They got a lot of guys that like to move. Brody chips another one, same spot, out to right field foul territory, 2-2 count. And stealing home, that's not something that has gone under the radar for this Bomber team. We saw throughout multiple series, if there's a play in the infield that the Bombers think they can capitalize on, they'll send whoever home. But it'd be much easier if Brody can make contact, get someone into the infield. Lobster checks it, pitches in. Brody, deep fly ball out to right. Just a bit too high. Caught. Lobster's going to come home. No aggression there. Lobster waltzes home, makes it a 4-3 ball game.
That cuts the lead in half there. That was what you needed to do. You needed to get that run home any way possible. Though you got the out there, you brought the run home, you did what you needed to do, you cut the lead in half.
Well, it brings up Andrew McDermott. Talk about how promising he has been for this Bombers team and how strong he's been throughout the entire year. 0 for 3 on the day today. Hasn't really been his game. But in a game where you trail by 1, it's still someone you want to see up. Sees the first one low.
And good eye at the plate. No surprise there with his on-base percentage. I mean, he always seems to find a way on base. And I really can't think of a better time for him to find a way on base down the run in this game.
Would definitely keep the run going. Struggled against Nash, but Schulte, new pitcher, maybe he's going to like some stuff more. Sees another one low, 2-0.
And something else to note there, that was Schulte's first run he's given up in his collegiate career in his sophomore season.
He's had such a great run so far, but hasn't gone against these bats that Ithaca has now.
And no one goes perfect. You're bound to give up a run eventually anyways.
If a pitcher goes perfect, then I might need to get on the phone with the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays and say, get him over there, because that's been a struggle I've had in my personal life, is having to watch that pitching staff. So Schulte, maybe a strong future ahead of him, but no perfect on the stat sheet. Fires one in. 2-1 pitch is high. 3-1 count. And McDermott looking to get on base for the first time in this game.
I think McDermott would be perfectly happy with a walk here. He just wants to find his way on base, try and make something happen, keep the line moving.
Another guy on this lineup, it feels like we say this about every one of them, that you don't want to let get in the base path because they're just so darn quick. 3-1 pitch, low, swings his bat, and he'll waltz his way to first base.
Takes that little trot down the first base line, and you can hear the Bombers dugout really happy with that walk. Bringing up Walker now for his second at bat of the game.
Trey Walker subbed in for Ethan McDonough in the 6th inning. Struck out looking. There's one look there. We know the bat comes alive. And the Bombers, you know, it's such an underrated aspect of the game, but as a music man myself, I love hearing the walk-up songs, and there's something about that Ken Carson that Trey Walker has that just gets me going. I imagine it gets him just as fired up at the plate. Foul ball, left field territory, a 1 count.
That was just out of Conte's reach over there, but he gave it a good look, but he just was not able to get there as that ball was not hit high enough.
Maybe a bit far, but with Conte's legs,
he made it look like it could have been close.
It really felt like there could have been a chance. You got to give him credit for that. McDermott's going to take a lead off first. Schulte looks at him, checks on him.
First time we've seen him throw over to first in a while, I'll say that, though, after seeing throws almost every other pitch for the first couple innings.
And some of that you can just attribute to. There's not a whole lot of guys at first all the time. Lobster made his way to second. There's been some stealing in other spots on the base path. Well, there's one fire down the middle. 0-2. Talk about Walker's patience, but the freshman still getting used to his new role. His average is great, but he does strike out a whole lot. He's usually getting on base through a hit or striking out. Pick off attempt at first, brings McDermott back safely.
Walker going to probably try to do whatever he can to get on base here and just keep that line moving. Like I said earlier, at this point in the game, you want to do whatever you can to help bring in runs down 1.
Yeah, no doubt he's going to give it his best. Pick off attempt at first once again. Schulte knows who McDermott is. Talk about that Feeney scouting report. I imagine McDermott, you could really just copy and paste that onto the next page.
Pretty much 1 through 8, and as long as you're not putting Scully in the 9 spot there. But
I've seen Scully move too. 0-2 count, pitches in.
If you're going to have to put the name under one person, it's probably not going to be Scully.
I guess so.
But you're right, though. Even him, he could take some bags.
I appreciate the realism. Maybe the 9th best runner on this team is probably top 3 on most teams around the conference. That guy's got some wheels, too. But regardless, 1-2 count, 2 outs. Leading off first is McDermott. Trey Walker looks at another 1-0. Deuces on the board.
Finding his way back here, Walker, and to make this a 2-2 count. Originally down 0-2. Trying to make this at-bat last long, make something happen here. As long as you're in the at-bat, something can always happen. You can make do.
Don't even think we've seen Walker swing the bat more than once. He's been looking at everything.
Oh, he thought he had him, but
pickoff attempt at first. Garvin really thought he had it. Stepped up, tried to celebrate a little bit, trips over himself. McDermott's going to crack a joke over there. They exchanged a little wave off, maybe a little high five, maybe a little chit chat over there. But the Bombers dugout loved it.
First basemen tend to be a little chatty with the runners.
McDermott says, "You got me that time." Another pickoff attempt. Still a 2-2 count.
That must be, 5 throws in this inning to McDermott at this point, at least?
Yeah, I think Trey Walker maybe getting a little bit bored. Let's see if he can find something that he likes. Could it come here? Not quite. Goes down looking once again. 2 straight at-bats. 2 straight times that Walker goes down without a swing. Bombers put up a run, make it a 4-3 ball game, but as we enter the top of the 8th, it's still going to be a Hobart lead by that score of 4-3. It brings up Johnson, Garvin, and O'Neill for the Statesman side. And Ryan, we mentioned it. I feel like the Bombers started to build that momentum, but they just couldn't capitalize all the way. It felt like it got cut short.
It's something the Bombers, I feel like, have done a couple times in this game, is they start to get that momentum, whether they just run out of outs or they just kind of lose it, but they seem to keep stranding runners periodically throughout this game. Anytime they seem to get the momentum going, exactly like they did back in that 3rd inning when they had the runners on, and a mental error on the base pass cost them. It almost felt like they kind of did that again, as maybe it was in the game plan, but Schultz kind of kept throwing the ball over to first base. It felt like it almost took Walker out of the at-bat down there.
Talking about the mental battle so often, that could have been part of it there. Well, Ithaca's got a new pitcher up. Jack Collier. Seen him plenty of times this season. And we talked about Sean Kelly. He came in, well, the sure-handed lefty had a bit of a more difficult outing than we were expecting, so he only goes 1 full inning. Jack Collier, he's up for his 12th time this season. Once again, a guy working exclusively out of the bullpen. His ERA hangs around 3.6, his whip just around 1.4. And we've seen him be hot and cold. He's one of those guys that has to come in against some very competitive teams throughout the year. I don't want to say he's set up in bad places, but he has to pitch against some of the best. This Hobart team maybe more of what he's expecting. So curious to see how he's going to take this. But Ryan, strictly off talent, we know Collier is one of the best guys in this bullpen, no doubt.
He's definitely got it. I mean, he has 22 strikeouts on the year, which is nothing to sneeze at. And talk about putting him in bad spots. What about starting him in the game? He threw 7 innings of one-hit baseball against Clarkson earlier this year, which is outstanding.
He's been a new animal since Liberty League play came around. I'm trying to say it with, the most polite terms, but I really do think this guy might be the best reliever in the pen. And the stats might not show it, but the talent is absolutely there.
And he's getting the middle of the order here, so we'll see what he can do. But a little fun fact is the Bombers have won 3 games that he's appeared in a row.
Well, Nate Johnson puts the first marking on him. A single that hops over Lobster's head. And that's a quick one for Hobart.
Hobart getting a runner on again early here. Now it's going to kind of put Collier a little bit under stress early on. This is more the situations you were talking about, Colin, kind of putting him in a bad situation. Maybe he heard you and just kind of wanted to test the water, see what happens.
Yeah, well, he's not going to listen to me. So Garvin's up to bat. Johnson's on first after a nice little hit. Garvin shows bunt, reels it back.
Brushed off a little bit there as he pitch ran in on him a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like every time Hobart goes to lay down a bunt, pitch is coming just a bit inside.
Maybe the Bombers want to show them that they're the only ones that should be bunting here.
Garvin lays it down once again, picks it up. Going to be called a bit high. I think there were some Bomber fans that were saying he might have fooled the umpire. That one was just a bit high.
They're keeping the line moving here, laying off pitches. And that's the thing with relievers. You have to see what they have when they come in. They might not throw you strikes.
Well, there's one from Collier. Another bunt shown, but right down the middle. Garvin pulled off. 4-3 ball game in the top of the 8th. Garvin for Hobart's in a 2-1 count. Collier's on the bump. No outs. 2-1 pitch. Fouled off. 2-2.
Collier, the third pitcher in this game for the Bombers, behind Sean Kelly and Bikazi, who have combined to throw 7 innings of 3-run baseball.
Yep,
or 4-run baseball.
Yep, Bikazi went 5. Kelly got hammered a bit in his 1 inning of work in the last inning. Now it's Collier trying to see if he can keep things at bay. Taking a big lead off first is Johnson. 2-2 pitch, fouled off. And Collier's going to do it again.
Collier trying to put him away, get the first out of the inning. Looking for a strikeout probably or a double play here. Want to keep that runner on first base or get rid of him and race him entirely.
Double play would be optimal. Any out that gets Hobart lit up on the scoreboard would be nice. Collier tried to see if it was the pickoff at first that would do it. Fantel made a nice scoop. It was a little off target.
Story of the game there, though. Throws over to first base. Trying to keep these runners in check, as both teams do definitely have the speed.
Bit of the environment thought that Garvin struck out in that moment. He barely chipped it. If it weren't for the volume coming off the bat, you never really would have known. So still a 2-2 count. Johnson leading off first after he snuck one over the head of Lobster. 2-2 pitch. Strike 3. And Garvin goes down swinging.
Definitely a key out there. Getting the first out of that inning. Trying to keep Hobart in check here. You don't want to go down any further than you are already with only 2 innings left to play to score runs.
Well, 4-3 game. Here's O'Neal. There's the first out on the board for the top of the 8th for the Bombers. If you heard the crowd oohing and awing, it was because Johnson slipped over trying to come back to first. They'll check on him again.
A lot of checking on the runner in this game because of all the speed that both these teams have. You don't want to let anyone start to run wild.
Can't blame him. Up to bat, Connor O'Neal. 2 Ks and a ground out. Takes a hefty hack. First strike of the at-bat. He falls 0-1.
Trying to get rid of the runner here. You want to keep him either at first, pick him off, or get a double play here, but you don't want to let him get to second base. Don't want to put that runner in scoring position, especially with his speed over there.
On the opposite side, Johnson's going to try to get there no matter what. O'Neal fly out right. There's Feeney. He got it. Crowder ups. Well-deserving. Great play from Feeney and right. Secures the second out of the top of the 8th for the Bombers.
Great play in the outfield there, as that was a hard hit ball. That gets by him, that's scoring a run, but he charged that and took a perfect route to get it.
Well, here comes Conti. He's seen a lot of stuff that he likes so far. Walked in his last 2 at-bats. It's his first time facing Collier today. Of course, this is Marks Collier's first action of the ball game. And Conti's going to be put in a big spot.
Conti brings a 3-game hitting streak into this as well, so that's a little bit in jeopardy here.
Shows bunt, takes it off. As much as the guys like their hitting streaks, going up with 2 walks, hey, at least he's getting on base. He'll boost his stats in other ways. Saw that first pitch, tried to lay down a bunt, took it back, make it 0-1. 2 outs on the board. Chuck up on first. Johnson is good. And if you like pickoff attempts, you came to the right place here on the Bomber Sports Athletic stream. Thank you all for joining. And, well, I may joke, it's still an incredibly close game. 4-3 is the Hobart lead. Collier fires another pitch in. Called strike. Beautiful location. 0-2 count, 2 outs, top of the 8th.
Collier got into trouble early in this inning, allowing the leadoff runner to get on, but has shut down everything since, looking for his 3rd strikeout in a row.
Yeah, Collier allowed weak contact, now continuing to allow no contact. 0-2 pitch. There it is. Popped up high. And if I had a larger wingspan, maybe could have caught that one. Athletic play.
I mean, you do have your glove
ground.
ready.
Athletic play down on the ground. I know. If only that could have been me, would have gone on the huddle tape. Haven't posted there since high school, but regardless, fouled off. Deep behind Conti. Marcus up in the same spot. 0-2 count. 2 outs, top of the 8th. 4-3 ball game. Hobart leads. Here's Conti. Swings. Grounder to second, almost tipped off the glove of Collier. There's Curtis to Fantel, and there it is. Top of the 8th is finished. No outs on the board, and talk about Collier avoiding damage. He did that to a beautiful degree.
Collier let the athletes do the work there. Like you said, it almost went off his glove, but he let it go by him, let it get into the infield, and let them put him away for the final out of the inning.
Well, for the Bombers, it's going to bring up the freshman Fantel, junior Curtis manning second base, and Colin Feeney. And hopefully more if the Bombers' bats can get going.
This is going to be a huge inning here for the Bombers. Heart of the order coming up, down by 1 run. You got to try to tie this game here, and so that way you can go into the 9th inning with either the lead or at least in a tie game. But you want the top of the order to be able to produce, and they've had a hard time today bringing in these runs, with most of the production coming from the bottom of the order.
Well, Fantel's going to be up first. One of the strongest hitters on this team, a top 10 average in the entire conference. Once again, this young man is just a freshman, no pressure kid. Not having the best day that you expect, 0 for 3, but we know that he can get going in a hurry.
And all it takes is 1 hit. You can only live in the now moment. You really can't worry about what happened in the 1st inning or the 3rd inning. You have to worry about what's happening right now in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, it's going to be a fresh look for him, too, as he takes on Schulte. Schulte remains in the game for the state spin. Fantel hasn't seen him yet, so could be a bit of a change there. Hobart holds on to a 4-3 lead. We're about to open up the second half of this 8th inning. And a story of innings. You see that big chunk from 4 to 6. That's scoreless. Nothing going on there.
Nash and McCausey found their strides through those innings and just kind of put up zeros. Didn't even allow much traffic, if any, on the base paths in those innings. But I mean, that kind of goes back a little further. For at least Hobart, you can see there's just a bunch of zeros from the 2nd till the 6th inning for Hobart, as they didn't get much going other than an occasional runner on first base.
Well, let's see if the base paths light up. Ethan Fantel.
Bomber's a little starved of the big hit right now.
Ryan, almost as if you're teeing me up. We both know that Fantel, he can provide that big hit. Right now, though, just trying to get on base by any way he can.
And that wind we were talking about a little earlier also has died down a bit. That flag is no longer blowing in the outfield.
Schulte sends Fantel the first one, chipped off the bat, foul behind him.
We were expecting some possible rain today, but no rain, no wind. It's been cloudy, but hasn't done much.
Beautiful so far. Nice breeze on what has been a rare hot week in Ithaca. That ball goes high, 1-1. And now we see Walker heading off that last inning. We see Fantel start this one out. I almost feel bad for these guys. Coming into Ithaca, New York, you almost don't know what you're signing up for. Pitch high, 2-1 count. But the weather this season, boy, Ryan,
It's
hasn't
been
been
colder.
hasn't been any better than years past. These freshmen are getting the brunt end of it. Pitch high, called ball. 3-1.
I think they should put that in the brochure. Lots of rain with lots of cold.
Maybe you could sell it to someone that hasn't been outside before. But I appreciate the honesty. Fantel appreciates a pitch that goes high. He's going to be walked and take first.
That pitch was very high. He didn't even attempt to swing at that one.
When I say appreciates it, I mean it. He didn't have to think about that for a second.
But now he's on base for the first time today with a walk. And this brings up Matt Curtis, who singled in his first at bat at the first pitch he saw back in the 4th inning.
Going to be a mound visit for Hobart, trying to see if Schulte is still ready to go.
They're going to make a call to the bullpen with Schulte coming out. Coming in here is a new pitcher for Hobart.
And talking about the coaching staff as we look at this mound visit, Brad Cook, his 4th season as Hobart's head coach, spent 3 seasons as a pitching coach at UMass Lowell at the Division I level.
Coming in for Hobart is Stephen Pofeka, number 20. I believe might be his first collegiate appearance. He was a captain junior and senior year back in high school, and he attended school 17 miles out of Philly. First collegiate appearance here today.
Number 20 on the mound?
Yes, is number 20.
That would be Max Friedlander.
Oh, sorry, wrong person.
10 appearances, 2.7 ERA, 1.58 whip. Good call. Hey, you need communication on the field, but you need communication in the press box as well. We came around to it, no problem. Friedlander, this will be the 11th time we've seen him this season, and he's one of the stronger arms in this pen, obviously getting put in a pretty big spot.
He already has 2 saves on the year, Colin, so he's been solid. So not looking at a save position yet, but definitely a high leverage situation right now. And he has only given up 4 earned runs in 13 third innings this year. So he's been solid coming out of the pen.
Well, he's going to open up his work against Matt Curtis, who's 2 for 2 on the day. So he's going to be battle tested from the moment he fires that first pitch in.
However, he's also decisive at the plate with 15 strikeouts. So he's a man that does not like to let the runners put the ball in play. So this should be exciting to watch, see what he can do here with a runner currently on first base already. So he's going to have to keep an eye on that as well. See if he likes to throw over to first base.
Max Friedlander taking the mound in the bottom of the 8th. Ethan Fantel, he was walked by Schulte. So if he finds his way home, then it will be no earned. Fantel, he's going to check out of this game, allow a pinch runner. Looks to be Colin Dunn. Confirmed, Colin Dunn. He'll be at first, put the wheels on. So Fantel, he hung around in the box, saw some uncompetitive pitches, finds his way to first, and now Dunn, the speedster, he can come in. Matt Curtis, he'll have the responsibility of trying to work Dunn around the base path. Freelander fires one in. There goes Dunn. And boy, was that fast.
That was a good throw to challenge a speedy Matt Curtis there. Excuse me, Ethan Fantel.
Colin Dunn finds his way to second base. Pinch runner for Fantel.
Thank you, Colin.
Anytime. Well, Matt Curtis, he's in the batter's box right now, so it was a called strike, but he'll take it any day. Dunn bolts to second. Pitch outside, 1-1.
A little bit of rain starting to come here. We may have jinxed it earlier for earlier conversation about the weather.
Seen the sprinkles in and out.
A couple drops coming in.
4-3 ball game, bottom of the 8th. Rain or shine. Hopefully getting out of this one. Well, Freelander, he's going to check on second after you see Dunn take off from first. It really starts to make you think.
Sliding back in. A lot of throws over still, and Colin Dunn, another speedy runner out there. They exchanged a fast runner for a speedy runner, Colin.
Curtis chipped off foul territory and right. And Dunn comes in for Fantel. Of course, you add speed in that exchange, but give Fantel his flowers. He can move for a man of his size.
So, something this Bombers team is very good at, and that's running.
They don't take you unless you got wheels. Well, Dunn sure has them. He's come into pinch run in various times throughout this season. Only racked up a couple hits on the year, but valuable to this team in plenty of other ways. Base path, that would probably be the top one on the list. He's leading far off second, 1-2 count. Freelander in his first action of the game. Fires it into Curtis. Curtis to short. Pops out of the glove. Here comes Dunn from third. Curtis can stand at first, and the error from short brings home the runner. Colin Dunn scores. 4-4 ball game. Matt Curtis, he stands safe at first.
That error ties the game there. Now a 4-4 game. That was the luck the Bombers were looking for to bring that run home all the way from second base. And Dunn was on his horse right from the get-go.
And for Nate Johnson, that's something you don't see too often. He's one of the most effective defensive shortstops in this conference. Just pops straight out of the glove. And talk about the weather. Maybe he started feeling a couple raindrops. But
Looks like it took a rough hop there on the dirt.
Tough to track. Well, you hear the theme music. Here's Colin Feeney. It's Freelander. He's going to check on Curtis at first. Now with no outs on the board, Freelander, he's put in a really tough spot. That run will be unearned, as that was done running for Fantel, who was walked to first. Feeney lays bunt, takes it off. Outside, raindrops just a touch more.
Feeney, arguably the best walk-up song for this Bombers lineup. Says his name multiple times.
Something beautiful there. Must have been nice about a year ago today when Travis Scott dropped Utopia. He must have liked hearing a song called Fiend after him, and he likes that.
Hit by the pitch.
Hit by the pitch. Curtis hangs out on second. There goes Feeney to first. Well, now, two great runners on first and second. It's a walk, an error, and another walk to get the Bombers in position this inning. Things going their way. And substitution at catcher, Scully steps out. Ethan Dabo, he steps in. So his first work of the day.
Ethan Dabo, another solid Bombers at bat here.
Freelander checks at Curtis on second. See the first baseman, Garvin, stepping all the way up, anticipating something short and maybe in his direction from Dabo.
Something to keep in mind, too, is Dabo has RBIs in 4 straight games and a perfect RBI spot right now.
Yeah, he knows his role. Well, he lays down the bunt straight to third, and he's legging it out till first. Does he have a chance? No, he's out at first, but he advances Curtis to third, Feeney to second, and that's textbook.
No RBIs there, but puts the runners in scoring position at a time when the Bombers really need the run here. Less than 2 outs as well, so a fly out could bring that runner home with speed on the bases.
Well, here's something new. Camden Laney checks in the game. He didn't think we were going to see much of him today. He's out of the lineup. He's not moving at 100% recently, and he just gets intentionally walked the second he comes into the game. Curious to see if he's going to stay on the base path. You know that he's kind of fighting with some minor health issues right now. But he was trusted to hit, not trusted to run, and just the look of Camden Laney was enough to scare off Hobart. The intentional walk, he's up, he's out, and now bases are loaded for the Bombers.
They wanted nothing to do with Camden Laney there. He stepped into the box, they sent him over to first base, and he went right back into the dugout. I don't know if that's what Valicente was hoping for there, but got the job done.
I think you take it 10 times out of 10. Bring Zach Spurger to pinch run. So, Camden Laney, that's going to be an appearance for the books. You come up once, you don't swing the bat, get intentionally walked, and then you're up and out in there. Camden Laney played in this game for a total of 15 seconds. Well, it's 0-0 count. Bases are loaded, 1 out. It's a tie ball game as the rain comes crashing in. And who else but Ryan Lobster to try to make a play?
This is going to be a huge part of the inning, and the rain's starting to come down now. So it's definitely going to make it a little interesting here.
Freelander trying to get out of here. That pitch is well outside, and you can tell it's in his head at this point.
Oh, it's definitely getting to him a little bit. He's now down the count 2-0. He was throwing strikes all earlier, but now it's just seeming to lose it.
Curtis at third, Feeney at second, Spurger at first. 2-0 count, 1 out. Tie ball game, bottom of the 8th. Coach Cook's going to have a word.
You got the Bombers here taking a little regroup on the mound. Oh, excuse me, Hobart taking a little bit of a regroup on the mound. You got the Bombers on the base pass. Bases loaded, 1 out. There's tie game. This is getting a little intense here. And the Bombers really looking for this win, especially coming down the stretch, looking into the Liberty Leagues. This is getting a little interesting for them as well. And things are getting a little strange. The wind's changing. The rain's starting to come down. And, all right, the umpire went over, broke up the huddle, and now they're getting back to play.
Well, 2-0 count for the Bombers. Freelander remains on the mound. Ryan Lobster up to bat, tie ball game, bases juiced. Watch the strike come in, 2-1 count. As the rain comes crashing down. Ryan, I'm not going for style points. Got the poncho on.
I came prepared. I brought my rain jacket for this one.
Smart guy. Well, Lobster's prepared, sends a shot, brings home a runner, and that'll give Ithaca the lead, 5-4.
Lobster did exactly what he needed to do there, though. He's brought the winning run home. The Bombers now have a 5-4 lead in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Some great stuff. It brings Curtis home. Feeney's at third. Spurger's at second. And now Riley Brody, who we saw bring a runner home in his last at-bat with a sac fly. Well, he's in position to potentially bring 1 or 2 more in.
Don't forget, he had the RBI triple back in the third as well.
Brody's bat, it's been alive and well thus far. Freelander sends in the first one. Brody takes a hack, 0-1.
Got some movement in the pen there, getting ready. Could be a pitching change coming in the top of the 9th for the Bombers as well.
Brody takes another hefty swing, 0-2. Bombers take a 1-run advantage in this bottom of the 8th. Fired into Brody, fouled off.
That pitch was held there for a long time. There's definitely a little bit of miscommunication, I would say, on the pitch comm there because they held that one for a long time, and he's been typically moving pretty fast here.
Fouled off by Brody. 0-2, 2 outs, 5-4 ball game. Brody swings right field. Will it drop? It does. That brings home Feeney. Does it bring home Spurger? Yes, it does. And Spurger, he's feeling himself. What a swing and what a result. 2 runs in, and Brody can smile on first. The Bombers are loving it. This 8th inning has been magic.
That is 2 RBIs for Brody. Now 4 on the day. He's having himself a day, plain and simple. Sac fly, RBI triple, RBI single now. He's doing it all.
And it couldn't have come in a bigger spot. When you look at this inning, it was mistake after mistake for Hobart, but at the end of the day, hey, the Bombers had to do something to capitalize, and they do just that. 7-4 ball game. Here's Andrew McDermott once again. First pitch, fouled off.
But now this game's a little bit more wide open. The Bombers can take a little bit of a sigh of relief here as things were looking a little bleak heading into this inning.
Came at the perfect time. The rain comes down. The Bombers' bats come alive. Brody hangs out on first. Andrew McDermott, he's up to bat, the grad student. 2 outs on the board, 0-1 count. Friedlander not in a good spot. Pitches in, called strike, 0-2.
McDermott just probably trying to look to get on base here, as he's done all season long. Just finds a way on base like he did last inning of a walk.
I would expect McDermott to want to get on base. Who wouldn't? McDermott fouls that one off. And Ryan, to your credit, he's pretty darn good at that. So
About 500, I would say.
He's so solid that, hey, sometimes you ask him, it's like you got a 50-50 shot. Might say yes, might say no.
I actually had a little bit of a conversation with McDermott last week. He had no idea he led the Bombers in on-base percentage at the time.
Funny guy. He doesn't care about the stats. He's just here to swing. Well, not on that one.
He's here to play baseball.
And, boy, does he do it well. 1-2 count, 2 outs, 7-4 Bombers lead. Both squads with 8 hits, 1 error apiece. The Bombers with a 3-run advantage. Popped up high into shallow left. It's going to drag all the way to short. Pop out, and that does it for the Bombers inning.
But the damage was done. The Bombers bring home 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to take a 3-run lead.
What an 8th inning it was. Really, the whole Bombers lineup contributes. Well, we start that inning with Ethan Fantel. He gets walked. Dunn comes in to pitch hit. Then Curtis, Feedy, Dadabo, Laney for about 15 seconds. Lobster and Brady, well, they all get a piece of the action. And when you look at that, the Bombers enter the top of the 9th here at Valcente Diamond at Freeman Field with a 7-4 advantage. Collier's going to keep going. He has a chance to wrap this one up with a pretty bow tie.
Collier just looking to close this game out, and it would be huge for them, especially after having pitched on Tuesday too. So giving him 2 innings here is big for him as well. Shows a lot of trust. But with the way he went through last inning, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it made quick enough work. Only faced 4 batters, got a strikeout along the way, went out untouched. He's going to take on Sanders, Burns, and Petrie. Sanders and Burns, they both put together better games. 2 guys that haven't really been hitting. And the Bombers, they're going to have to make various changes throughout the infield because of all their substitutions and pitch running. Notice Ryan Lobster, he's hanging out at first.
Yep. Lucas Orovitz over at third.
Defensive substitution. Curtis is going to remain at second. Brady's going to remain at short. Catching now, it's going to be Dadabo. Pitching is Collier. And left, Trey Walker still out there. Andrew McDermott still in center. And Feeney's in right. Fans at home, that was purely off the eye test, so you can either pat me on the back or remember, my name is Colin Martin. I'm joined by Ryan Collins. If we got any of that wrong, just let me know.
And I'm going to pat you on the back right now because I think we did a pretty good job on that one.
Well, Hobart's going to have to do a pretty good job to get out of this game. They're down 4-7 after a pitching disaster, you could call it, for Freelander. He's put in a tough spot. He didn't make it any easier for himself. It's going to put the weight of the world on Sanders' shoulders to start this one out. Singled in his last at-bat. Once again, he hasn't seen Collier. Collier will receive my high praise over and over again, continuously one of the strongest pitchers on this team, starting or in the bullpen. Well, here's the time to go prove it. He's going to fire the first one into Sanders. Sanders looks right down the gut. Strike 1.
And Colin, this is actually Jack Farnan pinch hitting for Sanders here.
Good shout on there. Farnan, he's a guy that's in the lineup quite often. It seemed like he had a day off, but he's going to need to step up there. So defensive substitutions will have to be made for Hobart as well as Farnan. He's not much of a catcher himself. Filling in for the catcher in Sanders. Sees one high, 1-2.
Farnan struggled his last game. He has no hits in his last 2 games. But he did go 3 for 5 against Skidmore earlier this month. So and he started 24 games this year. So he's been pretty solid for Hobart.
Yeah, bat's definitely alive as he follows that one out to deep left. And of course, at this point in the game, hey, to heck with the positional value. You got to get your best hitters up there. Farnan fits the bill. Collier fires the 1-2 low, 2-2.
And Hobart should have most of their bench available, as this is the first substitution they've made all game in comparison to the Bombers, who have made numerous substitutions to this point.
First substitution, first game of the triple-header. Should be all fresh. Contact made by Farnan, chipped off. Behind him, 2-2.
Both teams also last played on Tuesday, so both should have most pitchers all available today. Most of their hitters should have been available today, so.
Well, Collier has a chance to get out of here. There's 2 arms warming up in the pen. So that one shot to left field. Is it fair? Just sneaks. Foul.
That ball was just on the other side of the line there.
Just called foul. And depending on who you're looking at, you're getting a different vibe.
I think both sides are holding their breath there, though.
Yeah. Third base coach for Hobart, of course, saying it's fair. The umpire makes a delayed call, says that one's just a bit off. So it ends in foul territory, 2-2. Farnan shows that contact at the very least. Would have been a tough play for Trey Walker. potentially could have got him around to second. Instead, right in the box, struck out swinging. Collier wasted no time.
Huge strikeout for Collier there. Second of the game. He has been a little bit of a sigh of relief in this game for the Bombers, who brought in Sean Kelly hoping for a little more, but jumping over to Collier, they got exactly what they were looking for.
Well, it's Jack Burns, no substitution here. The 9-hole hitter, he's going to remain in the lineup. 2 outs remaining, and the Bombers can walk out of here victorious. It'll be a great start to the 3-game conference series. Bombers' last conference series, strike 1, 0-1 count. Well, the Bombers have this game against Hobart. They got 2 more, and then they're going to take a Tuesday game against SUNY Brockport. At the moment, SUNY Brockport ranked 19th in the nation. That'll be a big one for them. As Burns makes contact out to center field, McDermott over the head. Great catch. Out number 2.
Jack Burns was looking for a 4-4 day there, but McDermott said, no, I'm going to get you out for the first time today.
And it was a great catch.
Took it for a long ride there, too. Bombers, you heard the Bombers dugout go quiet there, holding its breath as McDermott chased that ball down.
Well, here comes Petrie, 4-7 game. He would be the last out. We saw the last time up, bunted into what turned into an RBI. Sees pitch 1, sees strike 1, 0-1. And Collier has a chance to get out of here untouched. Well, there's some arms warming up in the bullpen for the Bombers. They're taking a break just to watch. You can't blame them. 0-1 count. Can Collier get out of this untouched? Petrie fouled to left, 0-2, and 1 pitch away from Bombers' victory on their home field.
Petrie, always a threat, though. He's been almost been a pest for the Bombers all game long and looking to do so one more time here in the top of the 9th.
0-2 pitch. Collier fires high. 1-2.
And just find a way on base would be his goal. You need base runners before you need some sort of big hit, big home run. You need to get these base runners on.
Can't get 3 runs in 1 swing. Going to try to do his best. 1-2. Inside. And it hit him. Just touched Petrie. A bit of confusion. It didn't even seem like he reacted until he saw the ump would give him the call. But, hey, all is fair.
Seemed to look back at the ump and see, hey, did you see that? I think that hit me.
Hey, he walks his way to first. Can't blame him for trying. He's going to bring up the DH. I believe it's Munoz.
Munoz having another, was hit by a pitch back in the first inning, but hitless other than that.
Someone in the Bombers dugout fired maybe one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard on air. I'll keep it not repeated, but it's appropriate. Just maybe a dig at the umpire. That one fired out to center. McDermott, is he under it? Yes, he is. And that's the ball game. The Bombers walk out of this one with a 7-4 victory. The magical 8th inning of work gives the Bombers a well-deserved victory. And as the rain starts to crash down, Ithaca College, they can walk off the field victorious.
Bombers had a solid outing here. Rallied in the bottom of the 8th inning for 4 runs. The bats went a little cold in the middle of the game on both sides, but in the 7th inning, both bats turned it on with Hobart putting up 2 runs in the top of the 7th. The Bombers got 1 in the bottom of the 8th, or bottom of the 7th, and then 4 more in the bottom of the 8th.